72323.
Offices in Baton Rouge.
104.5 WNXX Jackson, 104.9 KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour is brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Good afternoon and welcome to Hangin with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. If you listen with us up at 1130 The Tiger up in Shreveport, surrounding areas, we welcome you in, and from CST and on YouTube, Hangin with Hester and Hanny page, 104.5 ESPN page. Thank you for being with us today. We have, let's see, we got guests in the studio today.
We do.
Did we make a trade with AFR and OTB because we
actually
we got
both
Musso.
OTBers.
We got that's right. Well, no, Musso's been subbing in on.
Yeah, I've been there frequently.
Let's call it like it is.
So
I mean, Musso's basically like our guy of the bullpen that has two gloves and he can throw both hands.
We got Musso and Danny from OTB, and we got to keep Paul O'Neill. We didn't have to. So we traded Cade.
Yes.
Okay.
For a player to be named later.
Did we have to throw in a draft choice?
No.
Okay. So we got Musso, Danny, and Paul O'Neill is here in a supervisor. I think maybe we promoted Paul.
He's a supervisor now.
Supervisor.
He'd be the best
position.
kind of supervisor because he doesn't say a whole lot. So he's not going to nag
He'd
you
work
over
with the
and
written
over
word
and
a
over.
lot. Yeah. Along with Jacob Hester, I'm Charles Hanagriff, and we start with good news. Since we left yesterday, no more games have been canceled.
That is big news because there was multiple games while we were on air that got canceled, not only in the SEC, but across college football.
3-hour show, though, so just hang with us.
21 hours with no cancellations. I'll take it.
That's pretty good. We'll talk with LSU Athletic Director Scott Woodward in about 15 minutes about what's going on with LSU and how they might play out the rest of their schedule and how they're handling contact tracing and what the future of contact tracing might entail. We'll talk with Scott about all of those things here. In the second segment, the Masters is underway, and man, I tell you what, it's been coming strong here in the last 15 minutes. We watched Tiger Woods almost ace number 16. He is on the leaderboard. He is 3 under through just 7 holes. He started on the back 9, so he's listen, they had a 2-hour rain delay, a little over 2-hour rain delay today, and they were fighting darkness as it was. You know, they teed off very early this morning, teed off on both 1 and 10 in order to, they don't usually play the Masters in November, Jacob. There's a little less daylight than what they're used to. Your leaders right now are Lee Westwood, who shot 31 on the front 9, the actual front 9, and Webb Simpson, who has just eagled number 2. He is on his 11th hole. He is 5 under par for the tournament. So lots of big names. Patrick Reed has just birdied to go to 2 under. He is in a tie for 6th place. Xander Schauffele 1 under. John Rahm is 1 under. Jordan Spieth is 1 under. Tony Finau is 1 under. Larry Mize, I love this story. I mean, it didn't last very long, but Larry Mize, who's 62 years old and last won on the PGA Tour at the Buick Open in 1993. I looked that up. Yeah, came out bogeyed number 1, but then went birdie to go out to the top of the leaderboard. Mize is back to even now. He's 62 years old.
So is this going to be like the Legend of Bagger Vance, where the lights, come out because they have to pull the cars up and shine the headlights, since it's going to be getting a little bit darker, a little sooner?
They don't. There's no patrons to move
true.
to the side.
Can't move the headlights there.
Listen, the Masters is nothing if not progressive. Okay, maybe that's a little bit of a lie.
Yeah,
that's a little bit of a lie. But they are okay. That was a big lie. They are using drones this year for some of their their coverage.
Now, I've never been, but people that have been, they talk about it like it's the greatest thing they've ever done. And I tell the story. My father-in-law and brother-in-law, who have been in the biggest college football and pro stadiums, seeing the biggest games. My father-in-law played in the NFL. They say the energy at that place when Tiger or any of the big name golfers is walking around, and just the crowd and the energy that's following him, they say it's not matched, and you can't ever imagine it being matched.
And I've never been either. It's believe me, it's on my bucket list. But the echoes of the cheers is what I've heard from people, that it will. It sort of like a Grand Canyon of golf, that the sound will just echo around, and if you're chasing, or if you're leading and they're chasing you, and it's Tiger or Jack back in the day, or Phil or whoever, it will affect you.
And Tiger plays off that energy as well. Yeah. That's something that I think he's missing more than anyone. Like, we've all seen all of the memorable moments across his career, but especially at that place, right? We all remember the ball hanging just on the cup, and it seemed like the roar of the crowd is what knocked it in. The place goes crazy, and Tiger feeds off that, I feel like, more than anybody else.
And I don't disagree. I think it was a unusual learning curve for them to learn to play without fans at the other tournaments. Now, when they went to Houston and they let some people on the course, and they're like, wait, we were used to playing with nobody here, and now we've got some fans, and there's none at the Masters this year. One of the other big stories going into the tournament, of course, was Bryson DeChambeau, and had he made the course obsolete, especially where it comes to the par fives. So he comes right out of the chute and bombs one to 3 feet, and carried, I want to say, Musso, that was at 10. I think he carried something like 350 or whatever. Had a 3-footer for birdie, and it's like, all right, here we go. He missed. And then 2 holes later at 13, which is a par 5, he goes out and he makes double bogey. So just remember, you can hit it real far. You still got to get it in the cup. So there's a lot.
That's why John Daly's not the greatest of all time.
Right.
Although he is very interesting.
Now DeChambeau came back birdie at 15 and 16. So he's back to even. We're going to watch him. Who's going off here? Ricky Fowler here in about 20 minutes. Phil Mickelson about 15 minutes past that. So we'll be watching the Masters. The Masters is always a good theater. Speaking of good theater, did you watch the MAC last night?
I did. I watched a little bit of the MAC.
Did you watch the end of the MAC last night? It was so classic MAC last night. At the end of the game, or what should have been the end of the game, Toledo is leading by 10 points against Western Michigan with about 3 minutes to go, a little under 3 minutes to go. They go for it on 4th and 11. Of course, they make it. Beat up the down marker while doing it. Well, but Western Michigan's not going to score twice in 3 minutes with no timeouts. Scored with 47 seconds to go. Missed the extra point. Get the onside kick. Down.
What was my no class this week? Teams not fielding an onside kick.
Yeah.
The hands team was in my no class.
This guy went up and tried to make a play on it. He went up and he tried to make a play.
There's trying and there's doing.
He fumbled it. He didn't make it. So
they were underdogs in that game too for Toledo. That would have been a nice win.
They were a small underdog. And then the end was Western Michigan goes with the fake spike. Now, I'm not a fan of the fake spike, and I'll tell you why, because I think that there was a time where you had teams that were going all out on kneel downs, going all out on spikes, and basically trying to hurt the other team. You remember when Greg Schiano was the coach of the Bucks
against the Giants,
and they were submarining on kneel downs. So if you say, listen, we don't want you submarining, we don't want you going low, we don't want you going all out on these spikes and kneel downs, then you can't fake it. Because if you're going to fake it, then I'm going to go all out, and somebody's going to get hurt. But Toledo doesn't have
football.
Well, then you got to be
be ready. It's a play.
You got to. I
was always strapped up on clock plays.
You got to be. Then you were okay with Tampa submarining on the kneel.
Yeah, because Marino used a fake spike against the Jets in '94, and it won them the game.
I remember.
So if it's a play that can win you the game.
But Western Michigan does. Toledo doesn't have any defense here on the fake spike because they ain't have anybody out there.
Yeah,
I mean, this guy was standing all by his lonesome to win the game last night. So. If you watched the MAC, the last night was just absolutely prototypical MAC football and MAC ending. So
it's crazy how that happens in every game, it seems like that happens in the MAC, or something happens in a MAC game. We're sitting here and we're kind of laughing at it because it doesn't happen anywhere else. So it makes the MAC beautiful.
It's entertaining. I mean, you don't have to. I'm not sure that I've ever rooted for a MAC team for any reason other than having a little coin on them.
Right, to go over.
Or to go over. Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, there's no difference to me between Western Michigan and Toledo. I couldn't care less. But it's entertaining to watch. We've always had something to pique our interest. Last night was no exception. We got a good game in the NFL tonight. Colts and the Titans with playoff implications,
really good game
for sure.
tonight. So
we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Cole Cubelic will be with us in hour number 3 today for what's left of the SEC schedule for the weekend, but we'll get Cole's thoughts on a lot of things. Hunt Palmer will be with us in the next hour, and Scott Woodward will join us when we come back, hanging with Hester and Hanny. We are brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
You're doing some home improvements, some property improvements. What are you doing? You're doing some landscaping, adding another building, planting some trees, some fencing, swimming pool, whatever it is. You got to pick up a shovel, pick up a phone first. Call 811. Because I'll tell you, if you don't, there's lots of problems that could be following you around. Could be problems where you hit lines of water lines, communication lines, gas lines. You could hurt yourself. You could cause problems for yourself, your neighbors. So don't do that. Call 811. It's very simple to do. Somebody marks the location of all the buried lines on your property. That way you or your contractor can avoid them.
Look, Hanny just said it. It is simple because there's multiple ways to do it. You can pick up the phone, dial 811. You can go to Louisiana811.com, and you can click. So you can do it multiple ways. And remember, they do all the work. They take all the hassle out of it. They're going to come. They're going to mark exactly where you can and cannot dig and put a shovel in the ground. You have to know what's below. Yes, it is the law. Know what's below. Call 811 before you dig.
Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Do you know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community without being asked? We think that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust. If you know someone who exhibits all of these qualifications, nominate them for a Good Citizen Award, and they could receive $500 from Citizens Bank. And we'll recognize them here on the show. Get the details at citizensbankandtrust.com, and then nominate your good citizen.
I'm feeling good. So good. I just thought you should know.
What do Honda lovers look forward to this time of year? Aside from family, turkey, and pie, happy Honda days at Richard's Honda. It's that time of year when everything is at clearance prices. And since we're stocked up on inventory, you'll have plenty to choose from. Over 700 in stock at transparent prices. Happy Honda days makes happy customers. Come see why people call Richard's Honda the smart choice. I-12 at Millerville Road and richardshonda.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy,
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just...
Join us for a Thursday edition of Jimmy Ott's Game Time, live from our usual Thursday home, Joe Lee Pearl Oyster Bar. Come enjoy the happy hour specials and catch Colts and Titans with us, or tune in here to 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Along with Jacob Hester, I'm Charles Hanagriff. Of course, this week should have been LSU and Alabama. That game has been postponed when it might be made up, along with a host of other topics we tackled with Athletic Director Scott Woodward shortly before today's show. Scott, as LSU heads towards another cancellation of a game or postponement of a game, I guess I should say, against Alabama, we turn our eyes towards how this Southeastern Conference schedule might play out. So we hear a lot of possibilities. What do you think is the best possibility for LSU to be able to play out the remainder of their games in some order?
Yeah, great question. And I ask, all of our fans and folks that really follow us closely to pay attention, because what's going to happen today versus what's going to happen a week or 2 weeks from now could be totally different. So you have to take that picture, when it matters. But right now, as it stands, the league has proposed, and we have passed as ADs, the opportunity to play games on the 19th, the weekend of December 19th, which is the SEC championship weekend. So teams that aren't going to be in the championship game can make up games there. So that gives us a little more flexibility, and it gives us some opportunities to maybe juggle some games in December. And it's just hard to tell what that's going to look like without this season playing out a few more weekends.
Is a reasonable assumption that LSU would play Alabama on a date in December, say December the 5th, and move that Ole Miss game to December the 19th? Is that the most likely scenario?
It's hard to say, but yeah, that makes practical sense. People can look at the schedules, and the SEC is looking at it. That one would be very, very logical to me. But here again, Charlie, we could change games and have more cancellations in the next couple of weeks that upsets the apple cart. But just remember, the priorities of the league are obviously to get to a championship game and then get the games in for our television partners as well. So it's kind of a multi-step dance.
What about the financial ramifications if there are more cancellations? You're out of open dates and things like that, and games do actually have to be outright canceled. What's a priority order then?
For us, it's arithmetic, and depending on the game, what we refund back to our fans, it's kind of a moving target, but it's millions of dollars, and then you can look at probably if we don't make up, say, Alabama, which I feel confident we are, that's probably all in $5 or $6 million hit to us as a program.
What about the competitive advantages of a team having to play a game before the Southeastern Conference Championship and one not? One of the participants would and one wouldn't. Where does that lie in the priority order?
I think that is not going to be the case. I would be surprised if it weren't. I don't think it's been discussed. This is you and I just talking off the top of our heads, me talking off the top of my head, I should say. I think there's going to be enough game canceled where that December 12th date's definitely going to be filled up in the week before the 19th.
We've talked about contact tracing before, but now it has come to the forefront. The things that were predicted before the season started have now come home to roost, that the contact tracing is a far bigger detriment to playing games than the actual positive tests, and that's at multiple schools. So, with that in mind, one of your colleagues yesterday, Ross Bjork from Texas A&M, said that the SEC has taken the lead nationally on working with the CDC to test out of contact tracing, something that is at current not allowed. Describe to me what taking the lead on that means as far as testing out of contact tracing.
Yeah, great question. We just have to get all of our data because, as your fans know from reading everything, is that we're not having a serious outbreak right now. That's kind of a false narrative. What's happening now is what you just described, Charlie, is that it's a contact tracing, quarantine and isolation problem, and we're not getting infections from that thing. And so what we have to do is get our medical advisory panel all the data that we can get to submit to the CDC to show them that, hey, this is not a problem, and that we can get out of this really rigorous contact tracing and get some really decent standards that work for our situation. And once we get there, I think we can make those arguments. But here again, we have to get the data to them, and we have to state our cases because, you know, they are going to really look at this from a health and safety standpoint. And but we know from a practical standpoint that it is the problem, and we are not spreading because of it.
Is CDC approval necessary for the Southeastern Conference to move forward with another policy? I ask that because the NFL has their own policy that is autonomous to this. I recognize that the SEC and the NFL are different entities, but do you need CDC approval to move forward?
You know, it's more of a question of are we going to be, I guess, true to our word with our medical advisory panel and how they can do it. And the answer, you just answered the question. We are much different from the NFL. We don't have antitrust protections, and most of us, with the exception of Vanderbilt, are state entities, and we answer to public health departments in the state who obviously lean heavily and rely heavily on CDC. So, yeah, I mean, the answer is we have to go through them, and we have to make our case through them to get approval on protocols, or we could question every single thing, and everyone has a different narrative and a different situation. But we're trying to make it as whole as possible that works for us as a conference, and hopefully we can get there. But, you know, as I tell you this, you know, on the other hand, I tell you, golly, you know, there's a huge spike going on, and we as a state are doing well, but are better than other states. But there is a serious spike happening in cases, and so I think CDC's focus is going to be on that. But hopefully we can make the case and show them that we're not the problem.
Scott, what would you say is the percentage of serious symptomatic cases amongst your student athletes or your staff?
It's not on that standpoint. Just in look, and I qualified, as you well know, Charlie. I'm very careful. Is that, hey, I am not going to talk about this as a scientist or as a doctor. I'm just going to tell you anecdotally what I'm seeing, what I think. But I think our kids are having mild symptoms, just like, you know, they're predicting and showing on that demographic group. Healthy young people are asymptomatic, but that's not the issue. The issue is how much spreading is going to the vulnerable populations in the community, and that's where the concern with the public health officials is. But we're not having any serious problems, and we've done really, really rigorous screening all the way to cardiology as well as pulmonology. We're looking at everything, and we're not seeing a lot right now, but you know, I'm sure there'll be studies talking about this and seeing that there is a long-term effect. But right now, the symptoms are minimal.
We're less than 2 weeks away from the scheduled start of basketball season. That's also the same week that the campus will shut down, that the students will go home for Thanksgiving break and not come back for the rest of the semester. How do you feel moving forward for basketball?
Positive. I like what we're doing in that realm, but, I caution everyone. There's a lot more intimacy and a lot more close contact as far as what's happening in basketball locker rooms and practices and everywhere else. So it's problematic, but I think it can be solved.
Okay, this is unfortunate that there's a siren in the background before I ask this question, but it's the last one on my list, so I'm going to do it anyway. There's a serious situation involving Coy Moore and an incident that happened this past weekend. You have said the athletic department and along with the Baton Rouge police are investigating this incident. I know the officers have been placed on administrative leave. Where is that investigation as we speak right now?
Yeah, you don't know any more than I do, but what I can tell you is I'm so proud of Coy Moore and the way he's handled himself in a very stressful, intense situation, and he's a class kid. And that being said is that, hey, we are all, empathetic and we are all really concerned about, what and how we do things. And being an officer and a police officer is a very tough thing to do. But you have to be extremely careful in this climate. And we'll just let the investigation play out. But here again, the chief of police in town and the folks have been very good and very supportive of Coy and his family. And I think we'll get, or I hope we'll get to a good resolution on this.
Scott, we appreciate your time. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you so much, Charles, and best of luck to you guys going forward. Stay safe and do everything you need to do, and hoping to get folks back into Tiger Stadium at least a couple more times in these makeup games.
That was Athletic Director Scott Woodward. Right, we taped that right before we went on air today. We talked with Scott on the weekly pregame shows. If we ever have pregame shows again, we'll go back to doing that. In the meantime, He's been gracious enough with his time to join us on the Daily Show. We're going to discuss some of the things that he talked about when we come back. Hanging with Hester and Hanny. We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Gotros Outdoor Power with 2 locations in Gonzales and in Baton Rouge. And our friends over at Skag still offering you the best deal in the industry on the best unit in the industry as far as zero turns go. Both the residential and the commercials available for 60 months interest-free financing. And when you add in free delivery and the biggest parts inventory situation anywhere in the state of Louisiana, Gotros Outdoor Power can help you. I know you might not be thinking right now about mowing grass. We're getting into the winter months, but it might be the best time for you to make the best deal on a Skag unit.
Handy gave you the 2 locations there. Make sure you go check out those showrooms. Also go to GoTrosOutdoorPower.com because they've got something for everyone, right? We mentioned commercially, right? Turf Tiger, Tiger Cat, Patriot, Freedom Z. But if you're looking for that residential lawnmower, the Liberty Z is for you. They've got multiple options for every job that you need to get done. Again, GoTrosOutdoorPower.com. That's GoTros. We make it easy.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business.
I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not 1 but 2 NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into front-to-back boat services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front-to-back boat services.
You may not know about the 4Kids Foundation, but you've probably heard of the Zurich Classic. And the Zurich Classic exists because of 4Kids. But it's what happens after the tournament that really counts. 100% of the proceeds are donated by the 4Kids Foundation to hundreds of local charities, totaling more than $40 million, all to help local children and families in need. 4Kids helps kids through golf, because every child deserves a shot at a brighter future.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf.
Coming up on Fridays Off the Bench, breakdown Masters Round 1, preview Round 2. Plus, Hunt Palmer and Cole Cubelic stop by to talk college football, a brand new D-Generation Dome, and another casual Friday OTB tier list. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
As we continue to watch the first round of the Masters, the first and hopefully only Masters ever in November. Webb Simpson by himself atop the leaderboard now, 5 under par through 13. Tiger Woods is 3 under through 9. Jon Rahm 3 under through 11. Patrick Reed 2 under through 10. And we'll continue to keep you up to date. So if listening to Scott Woodward, it's pretty obvious that playing the Bama game is a priority. It's a competitive priority. It's a economic priority. Right. It's somewhere in the, he said, $6 to $8 million. So yes, if there's any doubt that LSU wants to play that game, yes, LSU wants very badly to play that game. Even Ed Ogeron said that last night on his show.
We're excited about our football team's practice at the open date. We're excited about rescheduling Alabama. I'm sure we're going to reschedule them. I can't wait to play them. Big rival for us. But right now we're preparing for Arkansas next week.
So they want to play the game. They need to play the game for a lot of different reasons. But from what Woodward said, the most likely scenario, if they can keep it on track, is to put Alabama on the 5th and Ole Miss on the 19th. This is not something new as far as a suggestion, but now it's coming from an athletic director, and the league has approved this. So we're moving forward. The only reason I think they haven't said that with all totality is, what if next week gets wiped out too, or what if the week after that gets wiped out? The contact tracing is something that
needs to be revisited.
Well, they are.
I mean, Dr. Etheridge.
They are revisiting that. Problem is, it's not the league. It's the league is not going to be able to get anything through without the CDC approval. The NFL can get away with that. The NFL is a private entity. Mm-hmm. They're funding everything themselves. They're not subject to the CDC's policies. most, if not all, of the schools in the Southeastern Conference are. And Vanderbilt's a private school, but everybody else is they are subject to CDC regulations. So even if the Southeastern Conference wanted to go out today and say, listen, we think we should be able to test out a contact tracing, they couldn't do it. Now they're lobbying. They're making their case. What they're saying, I asked him the question late in the interview, it's like, how many people out of the people that have on your campus, both student athletes and staff, because the staff is obviously a lot older, are seriously symptomatic? How many sick people you got? And the answer is very few.
Yeah,
very few. And you're wiping out a large portion of eligible to play or participate staff and players for not a lot of sick people. And that's their case is, listen, we didn't know about this 6 months ago. We didn't know what we were going. We had to shut everything down in March until we found out. We know now. We know a lot more than we used to know. And we've been through this. What's the difference in the players 3 weeks ago and now that tested or quarantined and contact tracing, Jay?
The 90 days ran up.
The 90 days ran out. That's it.
Yep.
And so we know now that these protocols work, that the number of players is 4, and it was 4 or less at every place that is shut down this week, except Auburn, where it got to 10.
Mm-hmm.
That's out of Ross Dellinger's piece on SI.com. And we've confirmed that number.
Right.
So you got 4 guys, four guys who are, by the way, are not symptomatic, that have tested positive, have wiped out 26, I think it was, at LSU, that wipes out the game.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The numbers we're hearing, double-digit at Auburn. I think 12 is the number I heard. At LSU, it's 4. At A&M, it's 2. And at Missouri, it's 1.
That's correct. Those are the numbers
Hanny,
that we put up.
1.
2
in Texas, 4 in LSU's case. And so it's not – when you see the headlines of outbreak, I don't consider 1 and 2 an outbreak. I consider that a case, but not an outbreak. And so the headlines are very misleading. So you have all these people from all corners of our country saying, man, look at the SEC. It caught up with them. We knew it would catch up with them sooner or later. No, it's the 90 days ran up. You've got 1, 2, and 4 cases at 3 different places, but because of the contact tracing, you're having games canceled.
But they're at the mercy of the CDC on the contact tracing.
No, they are. I'm just saying it's not these outbreaks that you're seeing.
No,
when you hear the word
not.
outbreak, I'm thinking 20s.
Oh, the fear mongers out
Right?
there, that hey, we've got an entire campus is afflicted with this. Furthermore, the campus is going to go home in 2 weeks. Thanksgiving is 2 weeks from today.
Yeah.
They're going home for Thanksgiving, and they're not coming back to complete the semester. You're going to be able to put them back into some sort of – I'm getting tired of using the word bubble, but put them back into some sort of bubble.
It's what it is.
No Halloween parties, okay?
Yeah.
By the way, I think that's gotten a little bit, blown out of proportion.
If you have 4
too.
positive cases, it's not a Halloween party.
They've had 4 cases of other things before. It happens that way. So they're working towards it. They're doing what they can. But I'm here to tell you that if the contact tracing as it is right now stays in place, I would be very surprised if they're able to complete anything close to a full basketball season, because there's so many more games. There's so many fewer players. Now you can quarantine them a little bit better because you don't have this large number, but the sheer amount of travel and just 1 or 2 guys wipes out an entire day. Now,
team.
Okay, so 1 or 2 guys here put 26 in the quarantine.
Right.
1 or 2 guys there puts 4 people in the quarantine. That might be it.
That's it.
You
got 15 on your roster.
If you have 15 on your roster.
We've seen plenty of LSU teams that did not have 15 on their roster.
I've never seen one with 15 on their roster.
So fair enough. So
recently, anyway.
So those numbers,
not 13 scholarship guys. Now used to be 15.
Yeah, so those numbers are going to look different in basketball. Let's real quick though get back to football. Who's to say that LSU is going to be able to play against Arkansas? Because by the letter of the law, they might still have to be in quarantine. They're at least going to miss practices, you would think, and not be ready and have a full week of preparation for Arkansas. So again, it's It's the thing that's keeping the players off the field.
What they're saying now is, and the commissioner said it yesterday. I think Jimbo Fisher had said something along these lines. Scott Woodward certainly, articulated it very well right there, which was there was a time where this level of caution was necessary. That time on the campuses is probably gone. And it's not because we're not aware that there are outbreaks at other places in the country right now. It's these teams in these isolated situations is keeping an LSU tight end or long snapper home this weekend going to stop the spread of the disease? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. Have you gone to a part where you have gone so overcautious on this that you have shut down? And there's real financial ramifications. And why do I keep bringing it up? Money's not more important than people's lives. Nobody's suggesting that. But they're $80 million in the hole. Mm-hmm. They fired 10 people. They cut a number of salaries. You keep cutting money. You keep cutting people's jobs. You're affecting lives. Believe me when I tell you that you are. And if you're talking about, don't watch the news, okay? You're talking about complete shutdowns again, okay? Well, you send everybody home again. You shut everything down again. Believe me, there's a lot of people that can't take it again. I'm not talking about mentally. I'm talking about the physical. You know why most people are worried about being sent home? It's not because they can't go out and socialize and do all those things, or that they've got to spend 6 weeks cooped up in a house with their family, terrifying as that is. But the idea that you don't let me work, you don't let me live, the last time they sent everybody home, they sent about half the people $1,200 and said, fend for yourself. Well, got to keep the lights on, Hoss, okay? So that's why when we talk about these things, we do talk about finances because it is important.
It's a part of it.
It's a huge part of it. It is people's lives, okay? You may not be giving them a virus, but if you cut off all means of income and all means of being able to have income, then yeah, that's a big deal, and it's already hit a lot of people. And for these kids that want to play and are healthy enough to play, it's also a deal. We're not saying don't be safe. My goodness, they've gone to great lengths to be safe, to try to be safe.
And spend a lot of what resources they do have coming in this year on keeping the players safe.
And the data that we now have that we didn't have 6 months ago suggests that the contact tracing is more than a little over the top. Anyway, can we do the rest of the show COVID-free?
With the way yesterday's show went, probably not.
We can hope. Give it a shot.
Hey, we do have the Masters on.
The Masters on.
And we're going to be watching the Masters. And I know nobody in this city cares but me, but the U.S. men's national team is playing for the first time in 10 months. So I'm going to be watching the Masters and do this show. I'm doing okay today.
Well, I'm glad.
See, I know nobody's going to be watching it but me. But you and Hunt can talk about golf, and I'll watch soccer.
We do have a show to do. we can't.
We can multitask. I got 4 children. If you don't think I can multitask.
Okay. Well, then I'll let you watch a little bit of the soccer. Then Hanging with Hester and Hanny, we're presented by Richards Honda, home of the warm, fuzzy feeling, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
Tiger Air and our friends, the American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning System. Tiger Air is an independent dealer. Who doesn't like to save money? You're always looking to save some money. When you put the American Standard unit in your home, you'll notice immediately on your energy bills what I did when I put it in my home, which is that this unit is so efficient that your bills are going to go down. Your programmable thermostat that makes it easy for you to, take advantage of energy savings when you have to change that thermostat unexpectedly, like, when you're on your way home or something like that. It's going to decrease your energy bills every single month.
You're right. We got the holidays coming up. A little extra cash will go a very long way. So you're going to have discounts on parts and labor if you're part of that Comfort Assurance Protection Plan. You're also going to have those lower utility bills that Hanny's talking about, discounted priority and emergency service, and you're going to get increased equipment life, too. So you're going to have the best system going at its best rate. Call them at 225-754-8687.
Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
Our local nonprofits help build a thriving community for all, and now it's time for us to give back. So join us for 225 Gives on Giving Tuesday, December 1st, to build community and unite action. Learn more at 225gives.org.
From the makers of Blue Moon comes Light Sky. An extraordinary citrus sweet brewed with real tangerine peel, only 95 calories. Welcome to the light side of the moon.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business.
I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Tune in Friday night for another week of prep football coverage starting at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview, and we wrap up the night with a full 2 hours of Louisiana Prep Scoreboard starting at 10 on YouTube, CST, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Louis Oosthuizen, 4 under, just 2 off the lead. Crowded leaderboard right now. They are taking advantage of the soft course. Lot of red numbers at Augusta here. It was going to be soft before this, and then you got 2 hours of inclement weather this morning, 2.5 really. So they've really taken advantage of that. Louis Oosthuizen made maybe the most improbable shot I've ever seen at a Masters, at double eagle. And it was the same tournament. Musso, remind me of the year now that
2012.
Yeah, that Bubba Watson made that play out of the straw. That was quite a tournament. Oosthuizen is 2 off the lead. Heard a little bit more from Coach O from last night. We hadn't heard a lot about practice. Talk about practice.
Not a game.
We know there's one quarterback that's a scholarship quarterback that is healthy enough and is eligible to practice, and that's T.J. Finley.
T.J. is a mentally tough young man, raised with great character. He came back, bounced back, was hungry, had a great week of practice. He took almost every rep that he possibly can. And I think that he's got better this week.
Yeah, but you know who's been taking the reps when he hasn't been taking the reps?
practices. We have not missed a beat. We have not changed the schedule at all. We have some guys that step up. Zach Van Rosenberg was second-team quarterback. We had guys that never deep snapped before us, only for no deep snap special teams. So we just made it work.
I don't know if anybody's having as much fun on social media through this whole thing as Zach Von Rosenberg. He's calling out Joe Burrow yesterday, just for fun,
Right.
Like, hey, man, this quarterback stuff, come on, man. There ain't nothing to this.
Yeah, and a lot of people, of course, are trying to go the other way. LSU's punters throwing touchdowns on their defensive backs. It's like, okay, chill out. He was a quarterback when he first got here. He was a major league draft pick. The guy's an athlete. He's talented. He's not your normal punter.
Yeah, but then they back it. They follow that up with the shot put at Auburn.
That's very true.
They show that clip afterwards.
And it's a weird combo of a left-footed punter, but as we found out, throws right-handed and bats right-handed in baseball. So it's usually the opposite. Like you'll see some lefties that maybe do it the other way. But
in all seriousness, if there is a silver lining to this long layoff and Brennan being out and now Max Johnson being out, it's that TJ Finley has gotten pretty much all the reps. I don't doubt that Von Rosenberg is running there a couple times to give him a breather, but what did I say when they were going back into the competition mode before the Alabama game? Man, in my head, I'd almost rather than pick one and let that guy take all the reps, and Finley was my pick because they had decided on him before. Through multiple competitions, they had gone with him. I'm not going to take one bad half of Auburn and just say no. All right, so put him in there, give him all the reps, give him the best chance to succeed. Well, he's had that. He's had not the way they designed it. I didn't want Max Johnson to get no reps, but if you were going to pick one, they had picked one. Now he's getting all the reps. Got to be some silver lining to that, right?
And it makes it probably a little bit easier now. You don't have to go back and forth and say, we're going to have an open competition, even though it's probably TJ with the lead, right? And so you can go out there and say, look, you weren't able to practice if you're talking about Max, and TJ's going to get all the reps because he's been here. And it makes it a little bit easier for everyone. And you're right, he probably benefits from those reps. Although I do like a competition because I think it brings the best to the top. At this point right now, when you're struggling for reps, when you're going back and forth and you are a freshman, you'd like to see TJ, okay, Arkansas, you're the guy. You've been getting the reps the last week while everybody else was out. It's a game plan. You're getting, if it's 11 team reps, you're getting all 11 reps and not 7 or 6, whatever it might be.
I agree with you that I like competition too. I think there's a time for competition, and then I think there's a time you have to make a decision.
You don't like it in week 9?
No. when there's a limited amount of time and a limited amount of resources available to you, and in this case, a limited amount of personnel. Ogeron did get asked a question last night that I think is going to be fascinating to watch as we head into the offseason. This year doesn't count eligibility-wise for anybody. Now, the roster numbers are down, but you do have full classes coming in. He got asked a little bit about how roster management might work.
Well, it's going to help get our roster back to 85 because we were very low. And we're already recruiting guys and asking them to stay. Now, some of them are going to go. I think some of them want to stay. They see the benefits of staying another year. I give an example, DJ Chark. I'd met with DJ Chark and his parents. He was thinking about going. I told him to stay another year. He needed some more development. And now he's having an excellent career at Jacksonville. So we use that example. I think each player is different, but definitely we are recruiting our roster to stay as much as we can.
I think if they get DJ Chark back on this roster, that'd help a lot. Yeah, they could definitely use him. It got me to thinking who some of the candidates might be, who you would have said, that guy's going to go pro, but maybe he should stay. The first name that came to my head was Jabril Cox. This season's been nothing like what it was supposed to be. When he decided he was transferring out of North Dakota State, he was going to come in here. He was going to be a starting linebacker. He was looked at as a very strong draft pick. He was going to come in here and prove it against this level of competition, play in the Southeastern Conference, play a full schedule, and hopefully catapult himself into a high draft pick, maybe even a first-round draft pick. None of that has happened.
Right.
He has not gotten a full schedule, and frankly, he has not played very well for most of this season. If he came down here to make himself a first-round draft pick, maybe one more year, and I'm using him as one example. He was the first name that came to my mind when I heard about Ogeron talking about people, hey, maybe you ought to come back.
I'm trying to go through the list and remember, in case you forgot, which I don't think you did, this year does not count. So even though you see senior next to the name, this is something where you have the ability to come back. So that's, one senior. Racy McMath could be another
Absolutely.
senior
That's
player.
another guy who we thought might have a breakout year that hasn't.
Right. Damone Clark, even though he's only a junior, he was on draft boards, and he's sliding down. He's still on Mel Kiper's top 10 inside linebackers.
I was surprised that Kiper had him that high because he's had a poor year.
And he's been replaced by Michael Baskerville, so that's someone Damone could come back, feel more comfortable in the defense. He'd have a different type of season. So there's definitely people out there on this team that, even though they're seniors, even though they thought that they would do this, that, or the other, for whatever reason, they have not. And they do have the ability to come back. And for another, whatever reason, LSU has lost guys that have been undrafted or late-round draft choices that had a choice to come back and better their draft stock.
What about a guy like Liam Shanahan?
That's another one.
I know Ogeron talked a couple of weeks ago about trying to get him back. If he wanted to come down here and play in the Southeastern Conference in a normal schedule and in the atmosphere, and I don't know what it's going to look like next year, but can't be any worse than this.
Ed Ingram.
Ingram's a little bit tougher call because I do think Ingram has played well, and
he could be a top 3 round draft choice. He could be a second rounder, but if you want, hey, be a first rounder.
He's already had to sit out a whole year. I don't know that he wants to put his pro career off anymore. But yeah, I'll listen to an argument. You can argue with Hunt when he comes back.
I'm just gonna let you and Hunt do the next hour.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny and Musso, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but 2 NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
You may not know about the 4Kids Foundation, but you've probably heard of the Zurich Classic. And the Zurich Classic exists because of 4Kids. But it's what happens after the tournament that really counts. 100% of the proceeds are donated by the 4Kids Foundation to hundreds of local charities, totaling more than $40 million, all to help local children and families in need. 4Kids helps kids through golf, because every child deserves a shot at a brighter future.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
If I built a van, It would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Callahan Injury Lawyers. Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hour number 2, Hanging with Hester and Hanny and Hunt. Presented by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. If you're listening along here in Baton Rouge or on 1130, The Tiger up in the Shreveport area, watching us on CST or YouTube, welcome into hour number 2. Hunt, give us an update on the golf since you've been doing nothing but watching it since 9:30 this morning.
I've had some work to do. We got some cool stuff going on.
I have no doubt that you had work to do.
I did. Yeah, I did. But I did watch a lot of golf between emails and phone calls, and it's just this is as easy as the horse can play because it's just wet and the wind's not blowing, so they're killing it. The long guys are killing it. The short guys are killing it. I mean, Paul Casey's not the longest guy out there. He's lighting it up. Lee Westwood can't hit out of his shadow. He's lighting it up. Webb Simpson's not very long. He's lighting it up. Rahm's been good. I mean, it's just pretty easy right now.
Rahm came out bogey, or par bogey,
pick to win, I'm aware.
And now he's 4 under, so he's just 2 shots out of the lead. Paul Casey on the lead right now at 6 under with Webb Simpson 1 shot back, and a whole host of people, including Tiger Woods, who, listen, fan favorite for sure, but the odds makers didn't give him much of a chance here. Didn't give him a great chance last year. You've always got to, keep him in there because he's Tiger Woods, but he hasn't been playing a whole lot. Hadn't been playing particularly well. But that course, that guy, there he is.
It's why we love this tournament so much, because it's a course where guys who aren't in great form but have had success there can figure it out there. Spieth is the same way. He's been playing terrible, hadn't won in 3 years, and he started off playing real well and made a couple birdies early. So it's a course where familiarity means as much as anything, and he's as familiar as anybody in the field with it. And that's Mickelson, Fred Couples up until a couple years ago. Guys that figured it out can figure it out there.
It keeps your heroes relevant. If you talk about heroes of golf, okay. Nicklaus won there 6 years after he had won his previous last major. Freddie Couples has made a couple of runs at this thing into the weekend in his 50s. Not that he was going to win the tournament, but he was right there, okay? Larry Mize today at 62 came out birdie. And for a brief moment found himself atop the leaderboard. He hasn't won on the PGA Tour since 93. And I think you're right. This Tiger Woods is going to remain relevant on this course long after he has stopped playing full-time on the PGA Tour. And we're not talking about something that's way long in the future. We're talking about something that's 5 years from now when Tiger's eligible for the Champions Tour, which Mickelson is just now gotten on. He's still going to be able to play Augusta.
Yeah, and he can't really compete at 7,600-yard U.S. Open courses with rough up to your knees. He can't do that anymore.
And Woods doesn't want to play 28 events a year either. He wants to play select events, and this is one that it's just always going to be a factor. We'll see if we can hold up here for the rest of it. A couple other notables. Patrick Reed is -2, and Bryson DeChambeau is 1 under through 13. Do you see the very first par 5? You think he was thinking about it a little bit?
Well, it's the one hole that we've been talking about. It's 13, and for those that don't know the holes offhand, you'll know it. It's the one Mickelson hit over the creek. It's a par 5. It turns to the left, and his line is just straight over the trees, actually into the 14th fairway, where he can hit a pitching wedge in, where it's designed initially for you to hit a 5-iron off a hanging lie. And he overcooked it, and he he didn't. He left it out right, and then hit it in the creek, and then got to a place where he couldn't chip and flubbed the chip and made double bogey on the hole that everyone entering the week said he would have made the easiest hole in the course.
Okay, since the last time we talked to you, they have made a couple of announcements.
Yeah, they have.
The Bama game canceled. Miles Brennan, for all intents and purposes, out for the year. Feels like it's been a long time since you've been here.
It's
Tuesday.
Been quite a lot of news. That's just kind of the world we live in. I mean, not only LSU announcements have come out since I've been here, they've canceled 3 other games in the league. So
they have not canceled any games since we started the show today.
Not that we know of.
They're in pretty good shape. You have a reaction to any of that?
Well, look, I mean, I realize it's not what everybody wants to hear, but I'm not going to get on here and just lie. I didn't have a ton of interest in watching LSU play Alabama this weekend. I have a pretty good life. I enjoy my job. I've got a great fiance. My family's great. I'm a happy guy. One thing that makes me very unhappy is when we go out on the football field and they kick our ass. And that happens sometimes, and it was going to happen on Saturday, and I didn't really want to sit through it. Now, I have a job to do, so I was going to do it, but it wasn't going to bring me any joy, and that's no longer on the schedule this Saturday, so I'm not that bummed about it, to be quite honest.
I told y'all know this, I'm a former player, and the pride kicks in for me. It has angered me more than almost anything to open up Twitter and see former Alabama players talk about us being scared, us running from the inevitable.
That's stupid.
I know it is, but I didn't say it was the right way, but that's just my personality, is the pride that I have in that place across the street. I will play anybody, anytime, anywhere, because that was our motto at the beginning of the season, right? That was the motto last year with Joe Burrow, and I realized that was a different team, but that's the mentality that you have to have. It probably wasn't going to go your way, but if you have an opportunity to play that game, and I think every person in a leadership position thinks the same way, you have to play that game.
This was last night on how the players are handling the outbreak.
You got to take it one day at a time. And again, there's very few guys that have COVID, and we give them the best help possible. The majority of our guys that are out are quarantined, and they don't have COVID.
When your routines get upset this badly, Jacob, you talked about it a lot. When football players, athletes, but football players especially, retire from the sport at whatever part of their career, what they miss the most is the structure. That
absolutely
at 7 o'clock you're here, at 8 o'clock you're here, at 9 o'clock you're here. This is what you have to do. Follow through, and then all of a sudden you don't have that anymore. So this is not the end, but it is the end of them being able to give them a definite schedule that they can count on, that you get yourself mentally prepared to play Alabama or Missouri or whoever. Get yourself mentally prepared to go out to a practice. Get yourself mentally prepared to go through a 2-week stretch that becomes a 3-week stretch. That's probably as hard as anything that they're going through physically is trying to deal with that.
Yeah, because as football players, we practice more than any other sport. We don't have multiple games a week. We have one game a week, and we're preparing the entire week for that one game at the end of the week. And so we practice, and we are more structured than any other sport, in my opinion. And I was interviewed by Brian Bosworth, the Boz, yesterday, and that's something we talked about. We talked about he's talking about the thing I've missed the most since I've retired is being competitive in something and the structure. And I completely agree. It's like the first time when I retired, it's like, okay, I've got to go find something to do. I've got to get in an over 30 league and do something against somebody else And then you'd wake up, you'd have your coffee at 6:30, and you'd be done at 6:45. And you're like, well, what the hell do I do now? Price is Right don't come on until 10 o'clock. I don't really know what else I'm supposed to do right now. And that's just the way we're built, because for our entire lives, basically, we've been on this structure of knowing exactly what a Monday was, what a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all the way down the line. It has been laid out for us, and it's been so detailed that it is by like the half hour. And then in this season, there's not been any certainty. You're going all over the place. I said it yesterday, and I'll continue to say it because I think it's a real quote. When Eli Drinkwitz said, "I've prepared for 3 teams this week," can you imagine? You're preparing for. You think you're going to play this team? Maybe it's this team. No, actually, it's going to be this team. You're going through 3 game plans, and yeah, you've already got a thumbnail on all these teams, but that's not a game plan. It's a thumbnail of personnel and what they might do, and then you got to switch everything you're doing. Your players have to erase what they just learned, and they got to move on to another team without playing a game, and so it's extremely difficult.
I've even wondered at the high school level how they prepared for these games on
Thursday night, it seems like.
24 hours notice, 36 hours notice, whatever it is. It's been extremely difficult, I would think. And when you tell a 30-something, hey, you can't play football anymore, well, you figure it out. You've got a family, you get a job, you do whatever. But when you're 19 and they tell you all of a sudden, hey, you got the weekend off. Hey, you got this extra time off. Hey, you got this extra
Halloween party.
I'm guessing it's not time that they're going to take to get ahead on their biology reading. Just call me a cynic. So you got to deal with that as well. I hope that there's some good that has come of the time off, because I still feel like they're going to play 5 more games. You can put out the Bama game if you want. Hunt, I wasn't rooting for this game to get postponed because I want to play. We're going to play we're going to try to play all these games anyway. So let's play. I was never the guy that rooted for a rain out, because we're going to play the game anyway. So we don't have a pitcher available. Well, find somebody else to pitch. Let's go. But I hope that the team is embracing that as well.
My hope from this is that as we continue to move through the first of the year into basketball season, into baseball season, that those coaches have a teaching point to look and say, look, this sucks. And I realize that this is one of the best times of your life, and you've got college and you want to experience new things and do new and go to parties and do all that stuff. But if you don't fall in line, now they got less guys to worry about. But if you don't fall in line, they just start cutting your season out and you don't get to play. And so I realize that some of it's unavoidable, but some of it is. And my hope is that, they do get to play through basketball season. They do get to play through baseball season, because every time we do something, we learn from it in this new world, and that's hopefully something that comes of it.
And I know sometimes I get a little too old school, and this is going to sound like an old man saying this, but no matter who I've been in the locker room with, no matter who I've come across, guys that played, like I played longer in the NFL than I did at LSU. Almost every one of my teammates did. If you said, I'm going to give you an opportunity to go back and play one game, not a single person's going to go say, I want to line up for the Chargers. I want to line up for the Steelers. I want to line up at my school against my rival, and you only get so many of those opportunities. And I hate that some of them are being taken away. I hate that we're in this circumstance. And, again, it goes back to that pride part of it. You only get so many times to run out of that tunnel in Death Valley. I can promise you, Pittsburgh's a great atmosphere. Arrowhead is outstanding. It doesn't hold a candle to that place or other places in the SEC. And you only have so many. Every time you go across one, you got to punch a hole in that card. And eventually that card's going to run out of places to punch a hole in. And so I am always going to root for them to get every opportunity to play in that stadium with that helmet on.
If you heard Scott Woodward in the first hour, there's very good possibility that Alabama game would be on December the 5th. That's not official yet. They've got to wait, but real good chance Alabama on the 5th and Ole Miss on the 19th. That could happen. Everything else has got to maintain until then. But if they only have to make up what they've lost so far, then that is a very reasonable assumption to make that that's what the schedule will look like. But we got to get there first. December the 5th is, wow, a long time from now, right? don't you think? You remember what 3 weeks ago was? The Auburn game. How long
God.
ago? Yeah, exactly. Okay, so imagine that amount of time, roughly that amount of time moving forward. Didn't bring your jacket today, did you?
No, I'm just crossed my arms. I don't get cold in the studio.
Oh,
y'all.
chill out. You're over there crossing your arms. You're rubbing your legs underneath the
Goosebumps. It
table.
looks like you got a bunch of ant bites. Man, you're freezing.
Yeah. The only thing you're going to be Tommy Tough Guy about is not being cold in here.
I have no Tommy Tough Guy in me ever in my history of my existence.
You're right. You're the first guy that's ever called him that, Hester. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you by the Tiger Athletic Foundation. As a former LSU student athlete, I can promise you that they mean so much to us, yes, on the field, but in the classroom as well. They really set us up for success. As you know, though, this is a very difficult year. There's going to be adversity all over the place. We're starting to hear some of those numbers because we know because of the restrictions around COVID-19, the loss of essential revenue is going to be in the tens of millions of dollars. This is a good time to remind ourselves that we are Tigers and we have a go, and that go never stops. LSU and the Tiger Athletic Foundation is urging everyone to donate to the Victory Fund to help keep LSU student athletes going. The Victory Fund is going to provide scholarships, healthcare, and academic support for our student athletes. Your support is very critical for the success and the future of LSU athletics. To learn more information and to donate, you can visit the website. That's victory.lsutaf.org.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Hello? What's up, E? What you doing?
Chilling at the office working. You?
Hanging at the job site. Chilling.
Roof's up?
Hey, Greg, roof up? Roof's up. Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up! Roof's up! Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Full hour of football talk with Mike Detillier, our Fantasy Blitz, and Ryan Clark joins us. Hopefully you'll join us as well, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Bayou Ford powers the all-new 104.5 ESPN mobile app. Download the app today and watch our shows daily. Listen to us live wherever you go. Find what you missed on demand and more. It's a free download available for both Apple and Android devices, and it's powered by Bayou Ford.
This must be what it's like to watch them practice. It's a pretty valuable ticket to go watch practice rounds at the Masters. I mean, they're pretty hard to come by.
2009.
It's still a very hard ticket to come by. But watching the Masters with literally no fans.
It's if you've never been to Augusta, I've never been for a competition round, but I would recommend a practice round. It's a lot more low key. They don't freak out when you're walking somewhere because all the guys are just out there chipping and putting anyway, and you can really see the golf course. So, just a tip: if you ever go for the first time, I would go on Wednesday.
You go to the par 3 on Wednesday as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We did that. Saw Jack and Arnie and Gary Player.
That must have been cool.
It was cool. And you can get real close in that par 3 course. There's nowhere to go. You can stand right on the tee box.
So while there's been a ton of games canceled this weekend, we do still have some football playing. There's about 35, 40 games that are being played. We are, at this point, focusing in on Arkansas and Florida. That's now the marquee matchup in the SEC of what's left this week. Jacob, any chance that Florida could find themselves with a little bit of a Georgia hangover here? They're in the catbird seat in the SEC East. There's nobody left on their schedule that they're not going to be a significant favorite over. But any chance of a Georgia hangover here?
It's certainly possible. Anytime you've had a hump that you've tried to get over for the last 3 years and you haven't been able to do it, and you put so much focus on one game that if we win this game, we're going to Atlanta, and you did that, and you did it pretty easily, right? So you start to feel yourself a little bit. That's human nature. And you've got this team in Arkansas that in the back of your mind, you're like, man, this is Arkansas. I don't really care what they've done to this point. It's still Arkansas. We've seen them lose to North Texas and Western Kentucky. But this Arkansas team's pretty good. They've got some guys that care about being an Arkansas Razorback on their team. And Felipe Franks probably has a little bit of an axe to grind in this game. He's going to be a little bit more motivated for this one as well. Not calling for the Florida Gators to be upset, but absolutely what you're talking about, you can sleepwalk through a game that's kind of ugly, kind of clunky, and you got to kind of find a way at the end, maybe pull a play here or there, and you pull away with maybe 5-6 minutes left. I can absolutely see something like that just because of the focus that Florida put on that game last week and having an opponent that's good enough to come in here and do some things.
17.5 is the number on that game, and I'm going to pick them, and I went back and forth on that. I usually go through them in like 20 seconds and just click.
Yeah.
I went back and forth on that one like 3 times, and I settled on Florida, and I just did that because I trust the quarterback. And it was the same reason I talked with, and he's not in the same breath right now, but the same reason when people would say, what about a trap game last year for LSU? I go, Nine's not going to let him have a trap game. And I just don't think Kyle Trask is going to let Florida get clunky. I think they're going to go out there and I think they're going to score a lot of points. And I think Florida's defense is getting better. They've got certainly much better athletes than Florida, and I think they'll stretch it in the second half.
The impact of Sam Pittman not being at that game, Jacob, where responsibilities on the sideline have to change. Barry Odom, going to be the guy, and a head coach. It's not an experience issue, but you're shorthanded, I guess, would be the one concern that I would have.
Yeah, you are, but it's not a case, and I don't want to try to diminish what Sam Pittman's done. I think he's done a really, really nice job, but he's there to be the CEO. He's there to be the motivator. Now, he's got his hand in the offensive line without question, but he's not a coordinator. If it was Dan Mullen missing the game, and we know Dan Mullen's calling the plays, that's a completely different thing than Sam Pittman missing the game. And you do have a Barry Odom who has been in this league. He's been a head coach. He knows how a game day procedure works. He knows to look at the chart. He knows all those type of things, and he's won some games in this conference. And so that's actually not a big deal, I don't think, at Arkansas because of who they have at head coach and what they had to replace him in this 1 week scenario.
What do we make of? I haven't been I was more wrong on LSU than anybody in the league, but Arkansas would be second. I don't think they win a game. What do we make of what Sam Pittman's done?
He's coach of the year. He's the coach of the year in the Southeastern Conference because they should be a win better than what they are.
They should be a 4-2 football team right now. And I think if they could win one more game and he's still the coach of the year for me.
They don't have to win anymore.
That's probably
as long
fair.
as they're fighting like they have been for 5 weeks.
He has done something that the last two coaches, he changed a culture overnight. I watched Arkansas mail it in plenty times. Now, not against LSU. They always seem to get up for that game. But I watched them not respond to Brett Bielema. Watched them not respond certainly to John L. Smith. But,
smile.
Certainly watched them not respond to Chad Morris. They respond to him. Yeah. They're playing hard. I know that the talent level is not at the greatest level, but you're supposed to get the coach of the year. To me, is always how much did you get out of what was expected of you? And maybe we get the expectations wrong. That's a fair criticism, but I don't think anybody could have realistically expected Sam Pittman to do this well. He has gotten the most out of his talent.
Pet peeve of mine is when someone says, he's doing it with Chad Morris's recruits.
No.
Look, Chad Morris ain't been there in a minute, okay? He ain't there every single day. He is not getting the most out of his players because Grant Morgan and Bumper Pool, they were there. They were there with Chad Morris. They weren't doing what they're doing this year. They're two of the best defensive players in the conference. Now, they're not the most athletic guys, but that doesn't matter because you go watch them play. You turn on that tape, and I know I pick those two guys out all the time because I watch the all 11 tape, and I watch every single game in the SEC. And I tell you what, pick me out a loaf this year from either one of those guys, and you ain't gonna find it. I can promise you because I chart loafs, and I ain't never charted one for those two cats. So the guys on the roster that were there under Chad Morris, they're playing at a different level. The process that Sam Pittman brought to that team is different. So I'm with you. Coach of the year, and I think they give a fight against Florida. Now, I think Florida is too offensively talented at the end of the day, and they pull away. But, for a slim slate, I still think this is going to be a pretty good game.
The rest of take that game out.
Please, no.
No, hang on. I think the other two games provide a little something for everyone. Which flavor of ice cream do you like? Do you like
this is like pistachio ice cream?
Do you like lots of points or do you like no points? Do you like games would you rather have a game that finishes 43-35 or one that finishes 17-14? Which one would you?
Well, let me just tell you about Kentucky and Vanderbilt.
That's the 17-14 game.
This new cat that I have, when you clean up the litter box, it is offensively odor. It's awful. That's like scooping that into an ice cream cone and eating it. What the Kentucky Vanderbilt game is like. I'm not even. I wouldn't watch that game for anything.
Would you have watched it in April?
I probably would have watched it in April.
I need to go back.
There's no chance this weekend.
What was the cat's name again?
Martini.
Teeny. Yeah.
Say now.
If you like defensive struggles, if you like
Hanny, I'm as old school as anyone here. I love a good I formation. I ain't watching a snap of that until I have to.
It'd be interesting to put like the three-legged races you do at like field day. If you put everybody on the defense and offense in three-legged races and watch that too, but I'm not going to watch that either.
It's not great defense. It's inept offense.
It's awful.
That's why. South Carolina, Ole Miss, you score plenty of points. Yeah. That one will end up 40 something to 30 something.
This is going to be an awful offense against an awful defense. Let's see which one wins out.
Is there any chance Ole Miss, South Carolina, it's in Oxford, Kiffin is scoring a lot of points, that they're cleaning out offices in Columbia on Sunday?
Not on Sunday. I would be very surprised.
I think all of them go to the end of the year this year. I know Southern Miss lost his job after the second game, but that was they had problems coming into the season.
I don't know that they can fire him financially.
Yeah.
But I do think he makes it to the end of the season. There's some winnable games the rest of the way for South Carolina.
Y'all done this a long time. Y'all know all it takes is one booster with a big enough wallet to say, you know what? I am not watching this a second
anymore.
But I will go back to a quote that I heard from Steve Spurrier when he was talking about the South Carolina job. I don't know if it was, I think it was in the middle of his time in South Carolina. And he said, look, we had to get people to care. When I took the job, only one person in the history of the university had gifted $1 million, and it was Mrs. Williams-Brice. And her name's on the stadium. So are those guys there? Maybe it got cultivated there when they went on that little bit of run, but there was a point in time where it certainly wasn't there.
There may be those people there, and then it's this year.
Yeah.
They may need the money that those people give just to make up the shortfall on the athletic department.
Absolutely.
This is not, hey, instead of firing the coach, we need to, I don't know, fix the basketball arena, or, fund this many scholarships, or any of the normal things that you have revenue for that you don't have revenue for this year. Take a break. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com. Right now, with interest rates where they are, take a look. Just go and scan any of your financial markets and find out that maybe there's a better deal out there for you. And then go to GMFSmortgage.com, to where you can sit with a licensed local representative that's going to be able to tell you all of the options that you have, whether it be a new home, whether you'll be in the market for a refi, whether you want a construction loan to add on to your current home. Whatever your options are, they'll give you the easiest path to follow, and then they'll take you through step by step, all the way through from that initial consultation all the way through the closing. When they talk about changing lives, they're talking about changing your monthly budget, and that's certainly going to change your life. Do what I did. Do what thousands of others have done, and better your financial situation. Start your financial journey at GMFSmortgage.com.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
All right, man, what do you want to watch? Football or football?
Let's go with football.
Football it is.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Join us for a Thursday edition of Jimmy Ott's Game Time, live from our usual Thursday home, Joe Lee Pearl Oyster Bar. Come enjoy the happy hour specials and catch Colts and Titans with us, or tune in here to 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Paul Casey, birdie from the fringe to go to 7 under. He's the leader by 2 strokes and is through 15. Webb Simpson 2 shots back. He is through 17.
Paul Casey falls into Rays Creek.
Guess who Hunt didn't bet on?
I don't ever pull for the Euros.
No. The Ryder Cup, I don't know if you've done a show with Hunt when that's been going on. That, to him, I think it means more than Cubs baseball, or it's real close.
It's a big deal. If the Cubs played once every 2 years, I'd probably, care that much.
I watch the Ryder Cup every time it's on, obviously, but in '99, that I don't know that they'll ever be able to top
Brookline.
that. Yeah, with those hideously ugly shirts that they just went on a run and came from. You'll remember how many points back, but
I don't remember. But Crenshaw said, I'm a big believer in fate. Got a good feeling about this.
They just broke all the rules in golf. They were cheering for one team against the other team. They were walking across putting lines. I mean, just all the rules of decorum went out the window that day, and they won. It was a lot of fun to watch. Saints on Sunday against the 49ers. It is one of the late games, 3:25. The Niners have been decimated by injury. Oh, you hear that a lot. This team's just been wrecked. But no, yeah. San Francisco has been decimated by injuries. This was Sean Payton. This was the regular season game of the year in the NFL.
I was there
last year. Oh, well, you can tell me about it right after I hear from Sean Payton.
I think there's a system, and Kyle's done a great job. His staff's done a great job with it offensively. Man, they do as good a job as anyone in our league at present and run and working the mechanics of the run game and getting an edge, a half a step formationally, and that's something that you just notice right away. They get the ball off of that action to their playmakers. Defensively, they're very impressive when you watch them. They've had a few injuries, no question, and yet when you watch the tape, they're extremely well coached and one of those teams that you can obviously have that tradition in that way about them. They're used to winning.
Jake, you ever find yourself in a situation where the other team had been hit this hard when you're in the NFL, and you look at them and you go, "Man, where's all our guys?"
I don't remember a team being just decimated like this, and it hasn't been to role players. It's been to the players, and they were a team that coming into it, we started having that discussion in the summertime about who had the most talented rosters in the NFC, and they were in that discussion because defensively they had Jimmys and Joes all over the place, and they're just missing too much right now. You're missing your best offensive player in Kittle. You're missing your best defensive player in Bosa. It's not the same team that opened up the season. And they had some guys step up last week. They had some performances. It was I believe one of your first class or second classes. They had the receiver step up last week, and a guy you never really heard of before that point, right? And
I remember it so well, I can't remember his name.
If it makes you feel better, I don't remember the cat's name either, but he was a receiver that at that point caught like 3 passes, right? He caught 13 or something on Thursday night. So you're playing a depleted team. You're playing a team that is missing every star that it could have. But because of the culture and the things that Sean Payton was talking about, they do have a great culture. They do have a great front office. They have a great coaching staff. So you know they're going to come in, they're going to play tough, they're going to play hard, and they're going to try their damnedest to beat you. So it's not one of those deals where they're limping into it and going to use it as an excuse just because of who they are. They're going to come in and they're going to play you well for at least a portion of the game.
Richie James.
My biggest takeaway from that game last year is I go to about one Saints game a year, maybe two. I went to that one last year. My biggest memory of it was watching the selection show for the college football playoff right before the game started. But the in-game deal, college football to me has a little more personality than the NFL, and it's a little more easy to pick out the creativity. And then the quote is, well, that won't work in the NFL because they'll figure it out. The creativity that Shanahan used that day, he had running backs throwing passes. They had guys running free, running trick play. I mean, it was impressive to watch the 49ers at full strength do what they did to a good Saints defense last year. Now, they don't have the toys this year to do it.
They're down to something like 6 starters that are supposed to start. We'll see what lineup they tried out there, but I think it's 6 starters that started the Super Bowl will start Sunday against New Orleans. Check me on that number, but I'm not very far off. So it's not anywhere near the same team that we saw. I'll tell you a quick story about where we were. We were boarding the plane to come back to Baton Rouge, and they come along and the Saints scored with a minute, maybe a little even under a minute, and so the flight attendants go, "Sir, you have to turn that off. Sir, you have to turn that. We have to take off." And I'm like, "You don't understand. There's 50 seconds left, and the Saints have left them too much time." And sure enough, right about the time that Kittle drug them for 60 yards was the time we had to turn it off. I was like, I know how this is going to end.
So I thought on Tuesday when you were coming in that I was going to sit in on the triplet interview, and then you got here and thankfully could do it. But you asked him a question that I was going to ask him, and I'll ask it to you, because we've seen the Saints kind of not stumble out of the gates, but not be clicking on all cylinders early in the season. And all of a sudden, it seems like there's a point where it starts humming, and it looks like obviously this weekend that's about as good as it can look. What do you make of it when it looks like they flip a switch?
That the veterans are into their full routines, their full rhythms, that maybe they got off to a slow start, but they get into a routine and they start to play at the top of their games. Jacob can speak to it more than I can, but you don't always hit the ground in mid-season form. There's a reason that they call it mid-season form for veterans, and it comes mid-season. Now for the Saints, it came a little bit earlier than that, but a lot of times those veteran teams, they don't come out of the chute firing on all cylinders right away. That's my very simplistic answer to the other thing I tell you is that, especially in a COVID year, they may be the healthiest team in the NFL right now. If they're not, they're close. I mean, they had their problems before, but I'm talking about this week. They're about as how many starters are going to miss this week? The guys that you would want to play are not playing this weekend. I think if everybody that's on that injury list if that's it, I think everybody's playing this week. And how many teams can say that?
That first half this weekend was LSU Virginia Tech-ish, and that's against pros, not against a team that's not as good as you. It was something.
When you have a team like that and you have a veteran team, as we know, the old cliches, football is the ultimate team sport, because it's true. You can have 9 guys doing the right thing and 2 guys doing the wrong thing, and it's not going to work out in football. So when you have a veteran team and everybody gets on the same page and you have a couple of new parts that you're adding to that veteran team to try to make them whole, well, it takes a little bit. I mean, Emmanuel Sanders is a perfect case, right? At the beginning of the season, he wasn't really fitting in with the team. Everybody assumed because he did it last year with San Francisco, he kind of just walked into the locker room and was a guy from day one. It doesn't always happen that way. And so it took a little bit of growth. Your draft choices, some of them weren't really working out. Some of them have been injured. You just cut Tommy Stevens this week, and Bond's been up and down. He's been injured, but here comes Ruiz at guard, right? He's starting to play really well. Adam Troutman had his biggest game as a pro. So it really takes a long time when you bring a couple of new pieces in to figure out where they fit in the order of your team. And so you're starting to see that with the Saints. Everybody knows their role. Everybody knows where they're supposed to be. Quan Alexander, when he gets with the team and when he starts playing, it's going to take him a little bit to get comfortable with the team. When I signed with Denver in the middle of the season, I played in San Diego my entire career. I knew how to play in San Diego, but you have to kind of relearn what you're doing when you go to a new team, and everything's a little bit different. And it took me probably 3 weeks to figure out exactly what my role was going to be.
The Saints on the official injury report yesterday had Ryan Ramczyk, Eric McCoy, Drew Brees, and Michael Thomas all listed as questionable. I don't think there's any question all four of those guys are going to play, which means that you have Sheldon Rankins on to return IR.
Mm-hmm.
Other than him, I think you've got everybody playing that you want to have playing. And how many teams in NFL can say, man, look, we got everybody playing that we want to play in week 9?
I'll use some hyperbole. How many times that happened in NFL history?
Yeah, you
mean,
get to this
that
point.
just doesn't happen.
No, they had a lot of guys missing the first half, but you get to the midway point of the season, you've got just about everybody. It's as good as you can ask for.
And Rankins obviously is a very talented player, but the two guys that are playing the defensive tackle position have played really well. That defensive line for the Saints, I mean, Hendrickson is someone who is near the league leaders in sacks, and we don't talk about him.
And he's not even an interior guy, you know.
I'm saying the whole defensive line. I mean,
sure.
Brown's been playing.
Onyemata's playing excellent.
I love the juice that he brings.
Yeah,
because he brings it every single play. But Malcolm Brown, he had a big sack against Tom Brady, and
Marcus Davenport.
Who?
Yeah.
So we know Cam Jordan's going to show up, but the rest of that defensive line, I mean, like I said, Hendrickson's playing out of his mind right now. I mean, he dominated the game. There was one defensive series where he was just the guy the entire series.
No argument. So Saints big favorites over the Niners on Sunday. Be a late game on Sunday here at Eagle 98.1. Take a break. Come back. Hanging with Hester and Hanny. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
We're brought to you by Garcia Roofing. Been doing it since 1992. 28 years of service. Yet again, one of the LSU 100 fastest growing Tiger businesses as well. They are so professional over there at Garcia Roofing. There's no gimmicks. They're not a gimmicky company. They're a professional company that has guarantees that they can stand behind, including that free roof inspection we tell you about every day, because it is my personal experience that they saved me thousands of dollars. They came out and told me exactly what I needed when the other guy was just trying to get by, just trying to put new shingles on the home. I needed so much more. We had ventilation issues, and they came out. They marked exactly what we needed. They took pictures of the area that we needed the improvements, and they gave me a list, and they stand behind all of those, again, with that Garcia guarantee.
On time, on budget, and the best quality work. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, North Shore, and in Lafayette. Call 756-3100 or online. It's GarciaDidMyRoof.com.
Football is back. Tune in Sunday for a full day of NFL coverage starting at noon with the Texans-Browns, followed by Bills-Cardinals at 3:05 and Ravens-Patriots at 7:20. Then, Monday night, the Bears host the Vikings. The NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
You may not know about the 4 Kids Foundation, but you've probably heard of the Zurich Classic.
and the Zurich Classic exists because of 4 kids. But it's what happens after the tournament that really counts. 100% of the proceeds are donated by the 4 Kids Foundation to hundreds of local charities, totaling more than $40 million, all to help local children and families in need. 4 Kids helps kids through golf, because every child deserves a shot at a brighter future.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.
Coming up on Fridays Off the Bench, breakdown Masters Round 1, preview Round 2. Plus, Hunt Palmer and Cole Cubelic stop by to talk college football, a brand new D-Generation Dome, and another casual Friday OTB tier list. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Tiger Woods,
Tiger Woods, 4 under par through 14, is 3 shots off the lead. Paul Casey at 7 under. A couple guys in the clubhouse with strong opening scores. Webb Simpson, 5 under 67. Hideki Matsuyama, 4 under 68. They are done with their rounds. Hunt, as you watch the Masters this weekend, what's on the menu?
Pizza. Hungry Howie's Pizza. If you want really good deals from Hungry Howie, get your cell phone out right now because I got a couple promo codes to give you that can get you some awesome deals over at Hungry Howie's. So, the first deal, buy a Howie roll, get a second Howie roll for free. The promo code there online, 25003. Again, that's 25003 for a free Howie roll when you buy one. And then the best deal they got going, deep dish twofer. You can get a large deep dish 1-topping pizza and a deep dish 3-cheeser bread for $15.99. You can get a free flavored crust on that large 1-topping deep dish pizza. The promo code for that, the deep dish twofer, 26003. Again, that's 26003. Hungry Howie's, you can order on hungryhowies.com or on the Hungry Howie's app, or swing by the store, Nicholson, just south of LSU's campus right there at Lee. Make it part of your weekend plans. Hungry Howie's, bringing you Hanging with Hester, Hanny, and Hunt Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Hungry Howie's.
Beautiful.
There was one more. What's that?
That's Augusta's music.
That's Augusta, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
That's Jim Nance.
Who has a par 3 in his backyard and plays the Augusta theme song on the tee box.
Has azaleas out there too, I think.
Wondering where it was coming from. You know where I saw that was the Peyton Manning thing.
Mm-hmm.
The little series that he did. He took Tom Brady there and they played in Jim Nance's backyard. They were playing golf.
So that's the you know who's following Tiger today? The member Goodell with his cigar apparently, and he's brought Rob Manfred along with him. So those two are following Tiger around because Goodell's a member.
Roger Goodell and Rob Manfred are following Tiger Woods around today
at Augusta.
Can I be the commissioner of the NFL? He doesn't do a whole lot. All he does is screw it up. And he gets to be a member there. I'll do it.
You making over $40 million a year.
Yeah.
I want to be him on payday. Just, a couple times.
I remember during the lockout, he came and talked to he went around, I think he talked to every team, but I know he came and talked to us, and he got out in front of us, and, all right, guys, anything under the sun, ask away. We'd ask a question. I can't speak on that right now. We'd ask another question. I don't have your answer right now. Everything we answered. You had people saying, you're wasting my time, and got up and left.
That's good.
What would you ask him if you could actually get an answer out of him right now? If you were still a player, what would you? So
let me think on that one because I want to make sure I have a good answer.
Okay,
that sounds like a
good question. Yeah,
okay.
It does.
So I did want to get to this before we moved on from the Saints, which was this will be the first game for Quan Alexander to play. So Sean Payton talked about the acquisition and his first interaction.
Yeah, really, really good. Brief, but it's good to see him. He's in the building. He's doing well. Be working on this game plan, and yeah, good to finally really meet him because we over the years seen him in Tampa and then of course in San Francisco. It's good to have him here.
He is an upgrade in every shape of the form of the word if, and the if with Quan Alexander is always if he's healthy. Jacob, how long does it take you to learn a defense in the middle of a season in a completely new setting to where you can be a strong contributor?
All right, so the positive is he's a veteran player. He's been there, done that. He's played at an extremely high level. The negative part of it is the playbook looks different at this point than it did even week one. They've added little nuances to it, code words. Hey, this is kind of like that, but it's going to be this. Well, he missed that part of it, right? And so you're trying to play catch up. And also, they're not going to slow you into it. Like if you were a free agent that signed in the spring, well, everybody kind of starts over. Like I told you, right? The vets are like, man, we really got to do this again, but you have to do it. And so you kind of learn, and they've got the time, and you've got assistant coaches that have time to help you learn, but now they don't. Now you got to do it all on your own. When going back to my experience, when I signed with Denver in the middle of the season, they made Caleb Hanny and Brock Osweiler the backup quarterbacks on their off day. I still feel bad about this. They made them on their off day meet me there at 6:30, and we went over everything. And we were there till around 2:30 in the afternoon, and we took a break to eat lunch in the cafeteria. That was about it because they didn't have time, right? So Peyton said, no, you two, go meet him, and you are going to help him. And Peyton showed up, too, on his off day. And so they had a pact that they were going to come and they were going to do this. But I don't know if every team does that because it is so hard because I would have missed so many different code words if they would not have helped me, been in this meeting and just the changes that they have because they give you the playbook, but the day one playbook is not the same in week 8. It's just not. And they don't make the changes in the margins of the playbook. So it's difficult. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Yeah, you said, you're kind of by yourself, but I can imagine there's somebody on support staff or somebody that's been there since they started camp that can help this week. You can just assign them to him and say, hey, this guy's going to make us a lot better, so we need him to get going.
They do that, but it's always, at least for me, it was always more helpful if I had a player. Yeah. Because if I had a player do it, then he can say, it's kind of like this in this situation when you got this coming down, where a coach it's basically teaching out of the book, where a player is teaching from experience.
So you're saying that just as 2 weeks into this thing,
he could have
some
the base parts of it. He's not going to have the full thing. So they could say, hey, you're going to be the first and second down guy, or hey, probably in his instance, hey, you're going to be the third down guy. Just worry about third downs. That's all you need to learn right now. We'll get the other stuff as we go along.
10 seconds. Pick somebody to win the Masters.
I'm sticking with John Rahm. Why not?
Because he just put one in the lake.
Well, Tigers playing well.
I'm sorry.
Tiger.
He missed a putt. He's 3 under. He's only 4 shots off the lead. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, guys. See y'all.
Hour number 3 includes Cole Cubelic hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Hello?
What's up, E? What you doing?
Chilling at the office working. You?
Hanging at the job site. Chilling.
Roof's up?
Hey, Greg, roof up?
Roof's up! Roof's up! Roof's up!
Roof's up?
Roof's up!
Roof's up!
Roof's up!
beautiful roof every single time.
True.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Day one at the Masters on ESPN TV and the ESPN app. Paul Casey at the top of the leaderboard at 7 under. Defending champ Tiger Woods with four birdies so far in his first round is in a Group 3 back. Bryson DeChambeau is 6 off the lead. Huge AFC South matchup in the NFL tonight. Titans Colts. Tennessee up a game on Indy in the division. One of the things to keep an eye on tonight, the Colts defense, which is one of the league's best, against Tennessee's Derrick Henry, says ESPN Titans reporter Teron Davenport.
The Colts are only giving up 83.6 yards per game. That's the third least in the NFL. Last year, Derrick Henry, the last time he faced them, had 149 yards against the Colts, but that was without DeForest Buckner. That move to get him in there as the 3-tech has really rounded that defense out.
Teron Davenport with Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mehenti. Steelers believe quarterback Ben Roethlisberger will be available against the Bengals Sunday. He's on the reserve COVID-19 list, identified as a high-risk close contact with tight end Vance McDonald, who tested positive for the coronavirus.
Look, we all accidentally damage our phones. It happens. Now, Straight Talk Wireless's new Platinum Unlimited plan includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, data, and more. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
Hour number 3, Cole Cubelic coming with us in about 15 minutes. Talk with Cole about what's going on in the Southeastern Conference. Cade Wanzan back at the audio controls, Paul O'Neill at the video controls, and along with Jacob Hester, I'm Charles Hanagriff. Thank you for being with us this afternoon. Time to play a little NFL True or False. You ready?
As I'm ever going to be.
Okay. I got to admit, there were a couple of ones that were, ordinarily I like to just pull all things that are out of my head, use original material. But there were two that were so good this week off the national shows that sparked such a debate that I wanted to use them here. And one of them is actually with Ryan Clark, who will be on What's Going later on today. But they asked him if he would take Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray right now. Kind of, start a franchise, not just for one game. Lamar Jackson is the reigning MVP. He said Kyler Murray. So, true or false, Kyler Murray is a better long-term prospect than Lamar Jackson?
I think true.
I do too. I think he is a more accomplished I think he's a more accurate passer. I don't know that the statistics will bear that out over the first, 8, 12, 16 games of their careers, but when I watch him throw, I have more confidence that he's going to complete a ball than I do into tight windows than I do Jackson.
And this isn't a slight against Jackson.
No.
I think he's a good football player who's going to have a career to be proud of. But Kyler Murray, to me, I just think he spins it better. I think he fits it in tighter windows. I think he's got a little bit of juice to where he knows exactly when to run it, when to just try to prolong the play, stay behind the line, and throw it down the field. He doesn't panic. He's got a really a calmness about him. And look, I'll take either one on my team. I think they're both great players. But Kyler Murray, to me, is a very, very just talented, poised quarterback that I'll be honest with you, I didn't know how it translates to the NFL, but it's translated nicely.
And I think he's a little bit more elusive. And I say that with Lamar Jackson having had 1,000 yards rushing last year. I think he's a little bit more elusive. I like him just a little bit better. A little bit. I don't think
he didn't take many hits for his size. Like he knows.
He went to the Russell Wilson school of I'm going to avoid hits, and I mean that's something that so many young quarterbacks they end up absorbing that. He does a great job of that. It's a really good point. This was the second one, and this came from Bart Scott. That
had plenty of battles against old Bart.
Okay, well I thought this was an interesting point that he made. He says Bill Belichick is talking a little bit un-Belichickian, if you will, that he earlier this week said, one of the pivotal points, greatest points in his life was when he resigned from the Jets.
That was a long tenure there.
Yeah, all of 15 minutes or whatever it was. But Belichick last year at this time started talking about, he's kind of waxing nostalgic about his time with Brady. And I remember Jimmy and I were talking about, it's like, this is not the way he talks. He doesn't talk in big picture. It's always, we're on to Cincinnati.
Right.
He does when he starts talking like that, because it's so rare, you start to think maybe something's up. And I said, man, I just think this is it. So what Bart Scott said was, him talking about the Jets like that and this career moment that happened for him 2 decades ago, he may be on the move. The Giants, who he's always
had a love for,
will probably have a general manager opening. So, true or false, Bill Belichick will be the head coach of the Patriots next year when the season starts.
Okay, so initially I want to say false because he's a prideful human being and he cares about his legacy, obviously, and it's gone better for Tom Brady than it has for Bill Belichick this year, okay? But I also said there's no way Nick Saban will ever leave the Dolphins after 2 years and not be successful and go to Alabama because he's so prideful he'll try to make it work a little bit longer. Well, we all know how that story turned out. And they're cut from the same cloth, right? We know they're great friends and all that type of stuff. I'm going to say true. I don't know if it's next year, but I think
that he won't be he will be the coach of the Patriots next year at this time?
I think he'll eventually be the GM of the Giants. So this next year, I don't know, but I don't think it's that long in the future.
Well, but isn't timing everything in this deal? If the general manager job of the Giants comes up this year, it probably won't come up again for another 3 to 5 years.
And they'll tell him that.
Well, he knows that. But my point is, Belichick is 68. If you want to be a GM before you retire, the time's probably now. Do you want to do it now? You might not get another shot at this. You can go be GM somewhere else.
Right.
But this is the franchise that you like. If you want to take this job, it might not be up again until you're 73, and that's when that's if the next guy doesn't do well.
Right.
If the next guy does do well, this may not come up again for you, period. Timing. If if Gettleman had signed last year, or if Daniel Jones was a really good quarterback and Saquon Barkley had never gotten hurt and the Giants were doing well and the job wasn't open, timing.
All right, screw it. He's going to be the Giants GM. Him and Joe Judge, great relationship
I'm not
already.
Trying to talk
you talked me into it. I'm convinced. It's happening.
Cade? False. Thank you.
Okay.
True or false? The Steelers' scare with the Cowboys last weekend should make the Bengals and Joe Burrow more confident that they can upset the Steelers this weekend.
I'm going to say true, but it has more to do with Big Ben's got 2 bad knees. He's on the COVID list. And when you're undefeated like that and you're playing a team that you're supposed to beat, obviously you start to let it creep in who you're playing, and you don't maybe get as focused that you were when you played the Titans and the Ravens. And, by the way, Joe Burrow's making the Bengals a respectable team. Don't look at the record. Look at the play. And so, absolutely, I think that you see that, you say, man, we're better than the Cowboys. We're going to go out there and we're going to have our opportunities.
All right, so I agree with you what you said about Joe and the Bengals, but I'm going to say false, that because the Steelers had their letdown last week, they will refocus and play better this week at home. Like last week was you had a chance to catch him.
Right. Joe Burrow ain't Gilbert, though.
No, he's not. But Gilbert almost beat him.
That's what I'm saying.
But that was on the road. All right. I did.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter this year.
Okay. All right.
A bunch of empty, quiet places.
The Chargers play the Dolphins this weekend. Tua making his third start. Justin Herbert is no worse than the co-favorite for Rookie of the Year right now with Joe Burrow. True or false, those two players look at this as a heads-up battle because they're both rookie quarterbacks.
If it was Joe and Tua, I'd say true. Justin Herbert's a little bit different of a cat. The questions when he was coming out is, does he love football enough? Is he an alpha? Can he handle a team? And he's played extremely well, but I just don't think that's his personality to make it about him and Tua, right? He played at Oregon. They don't do things like that in the Pac-12. In the SEC, I'm not going to lie to you. I'd look at the roster and I'd be like, God, that guy went to Florida, Georgia, man. I really want to whip his you-know-what. And so if it was two different guys, I think it'd be a different story, but Justin Herbert, I don't think he makes it about them. It's more about the Dolphins and Chargers.
Last one. True or false, the Buffalo Bills are the most underrated team in the NFL.
Ooh, I like this one. I was on the Buffalo Bills train pretty early. I thought a lot of them, and I think that was a statement win they had last week against the Seahawks. And so I'll say they are the most underrated team in the NFL, yes.
I'm with you, and I love this game this weekend that they're going to Arizona because Arizona's fun to watch play football. Mm-hmm. They're fun because of Kyler Murray. They're fun because of DeAndre Hopkins. They're fun because they've got an interesting defense, let's say.
Yeah, Buda Baker's fun to watch.
Well, they make some big plays, but they give up some big plays. I watched all of their game with Seattle because it was the primetime game, and I watched a good
Any
bit.
other reason?
No. It was the primetime game. And then I watched, when we got back, we had made a trip last weekend, but we got back, watched a good bit of the second half at the end of their game last week against the Dolphins, and they're just fun to watch, and I want to see them against the Bills. I think that's one of the more entertaining matchups of this week in the NFL. So NFL True or False is brought to you by Supreme Rice. Support our Louisiana farmers. All Supreme Rice is grilled, grown, milled, and processed down in Crowley and in southwest Louisiana. Support our Louisiana farmers. Been a rough year for them down in southwest Louisiana with the hurricanes that have come through. Since the 1930s, Supreme Rice has been delighting their customers with great dishes. So whether it's a jambalaya, it's a gumbo, it's a stew, or an etouffee, make sure you use Supreme Rice in the brown, the long grain, or the jasmine. All of them coming now in the 5-pound bags. You can get Supreme Rice wherever you shop, all of your Walmarts, all of your Costco's, all of your AG food dealers. You're going to be able to stretch that food dollar a little bit longer when you use Supreme Rice. When we're making a big pot of something at my house, it's going to be with Supreme Rice. So do what we do and use Supreme Rice. For more information, great recipes, go to supremerice.com. Cole Cubelic, when we come back, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny. Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You may not know about the 4Kids Foundation, but you've probably heard of the Zurich Classic. And the Zurich Classic exists because of 4Kids. But it's what happens after the tournament that really counts. 100% of the proceeds are donated by the 4Kids Foundation to hundreds of local charities, totaling more than $40 million, all to help local children and families in need. 4Kids helps kids through golf, because every child deserves a shot at a brighter future.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Toyotathon is happening now at Corval Toyota in Opelousas.
Get a 20 Highlander for $4,600 off of MSRP.
So come on down to Happytown for Toyotathon. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas.
Happytown, USA.
Tune in Friday night for another week of prep football coverage starting at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview, and we wrap up the night with a full 2 hours of Louisiana Prep School Board starting at 10 on YouTube, CST, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Joining us now from the SEC Network is Cole Cubelic. Cole, good afternoon. How are you?
Hey, doing well, guys. How are you?
Doing fine. The weekend coming up in the SEC is pretty short, so I want to start with the game from last weekend. I know it's been a few days, but your biggest takeaways from Florida's win over Georgia?
Just that offense is for real, and I think we all kind of thought it, and maybe had a couple doubts back of our minds, but they are going to be able to pose matchup problems for anybody that they face. And I think maybe the bigger surprise was that how good they've looked in the 2 weeks since they've come back. We all, at least I did, thought that they weren't going to be great, and it was going to take them some while to get back on track, and there was going to be a bit of an acclimation period between, the 20-some days that they had off and maybe being one of the elite teams in college football again. And they have looked like an elite team in college football the 2 weeks that they've been back against Missouri and Georgia. So I thought Dan called a great game. It's something that I don't think he's always done in monster matchups, but in this one he did. The use of the running backs in the passing game and to mix and match the run game the way that he did, I thought was just phenomenal. So I think the defense has taken a few steps. They're not what I would consider to be a liability anymore, but you're going to have to get into a track meet if you're going to find a way to beat Florida.
Cole, we know what the expectation level is for Georgia and their fan base, and this season is going to end yet again without hoisting a national championship trophy. At least a million things would have to happen for them to get back in that conversation. So there's going to be disappointment again, and their offense looks actually worse than it did a year ago. What's the talk going to be this offseason for the Georgia Bulldogs with yet again another season that doesn't lead to championships?
I think it'll be quarterback. I think it'll be does it matter on defense? We talk about all these returning starters, NFL guys, running backs, offensive line. Does it matter? When are you going to get a quarterback that can win you a national title? And people are going to say, Jacob Eason left town, Justin Fields left town. You had Jamie Newman, who maybe could at least give you a better chance and possibly been that guy. He left town. I think that's going to be the discussion, and that's going to be the talk. And if it's somebody that's on the roster now, I think there'll be a lot of doubts that come with that, because I just don't know if anybody that's currently on that roster has proven to a lot of people that they deserve to be mentioned as somebody who can take Georgia to the college football playoff and win it. So I think that we're probably going to begin having conversations about Kirby Smart sort of having his Nick Saban moment that some coaches in this league have had and some others have not. You look at the defensive-minded coaches in this league. Will Muschamp's been a little bit stubborn with his offense coordinator sort of opening things up, and you could probably argue he went backwards in that regard with his last hire of Mike Bobo. I mean, they're using tight ends and fullbacks on a regular basis. I think you look at Jeremy Pruitt in Tennessee, and some people would say a refusal to sort of open things up there. Then you look at Ed Orgeron, and he kind of did what Nick Saban did when he hired Lane Kiffin and said, "Hell with it, we got to go get somebody to score some points." That's just it's got to happen. Maybe you track it back to a Gene Chizik when he kind of said, "We got to go get somebody that can do something different, can score, can go fast, and can put points up, and just be a different kind of a guy." But I think you look down the list. I mean, Derek Mason, he got rid of Andy Ludwig because they thought they were going to open that thing up, and it's just been the same guy 2 or 3 times. And it hadn't been a whole lot different from a production standpoint. I mean, Andy was better with what he was running, and that was mostly 2 tight end, 12, 13 personnel, motion, wait, shift, trade, bleed the clock. I mean, and there were more productive doing that stuff. So I think some of the defensive coaches in this league are having a hard time sort of having that Nick Saban, Ed Orgeron moment of coming to the realization that if you don't find a way to score regularly, you might never win an SEC or national championship.
Cole Cubelic is our guest. Cole, what kind of week was it for Texas A&M? On the one hand, they have maybe the most dominant performance since Jimbo's been the coach in just annihilating South Carolina, and their signature win on the schedule. Florida wins a big game against Georgia. On the other hand, Notre Dame pulls the upset, which maybe hurts them in their chances to get into the playoffs, and then they get a game canceled against Tennessee where I would imagine they would rather still be playing right now as well as they are going right now. So what kind of week for A&M?
Yeah, probably one mixed with emotions. I think I don't know. I look at time off is time off when you're a college football player. Like a day off is just a godsend. And yeah, you worry about rust and being gone too long, and conditioning probably becomes something that you're a little bit concerned about. But when we just mentioned Florida had about a month off, and they come back and look better than they did before. So I guess it can be beneficial as well. I've had to coach myself out of being too definitive on a lot of different topics when talking about college football this year, because it really does seem to change week to week. I'll see an offensive line or a defensive line or an offense or defense one week, and then the next week I'm thinking, well, maybe that was the other group they were playing against last week that made them look that good. They're actually not great. So I think it's just you kind of got to wait and see, and they'll have some waiting and seeing to do, but I think they're in a great position because, you could argue that, obviously Notre Dame beat a team who was ranked number one. That team did not deserve to be ranked number one right now. Alabama has the best resume in college football, and it's not debatable. You can't really – I don't think you can make too much of a debate of the talent differential between Alabama and Clemson. Therefore, how was Clemson ever ranked ahead of Alabama? That should have never happened. That should have never been a real thing. So you give Notre Dame credit for getting the win. You got a couple guys gone from the front seven. Trevor Lawrence is not in that game. So, some people are still going to have some doubts about, sort of how and why that thing took place. But Florida's got the next best win. Or, A&M's got the next best win over Florida. So if you're just talking resumes, I think they probably have the third best resume in college football. So I think they're in a good spot because they got a chance to maybe get Auburn late, and Auburn can get two more wins here down the stretch. Probably going to lose Alabama and have a good record when they get them. And then you're sitting there thinking, if Alabama handles their business, keeps dominating people the way that they have, how can you not excuse it? How can you not look at it and say, yeah, it was early. They've changed some things. They've gotten better, and we deserve to talk about them as one of the four best teams in the nation.
Cole, I know you've covered a couple of Group of Five games throughout this college football season, and really I've been asking everyone that does it on a national level this question this week. You've got 7 of those teams ranked in the top 25, 2 in the top 10. You mentioned A&M and their resume. Any way you can see any of those Group of Five teams getting in?
Unfortunately, no. The only one that I would say, if you're basing it on resume, that might have a chance is Liberty. And I know it sounds crazy, but you look down the schedule, they're going to have 3 P5 teams that they beat. This is if they go undefeated. And they got a chance to play an undefeated Coastal Carolina team in the last game of the year. And that could end up, if we see something happen like what happened this weekend, that could end up being one of the better games of the year or the weekend, and everybody will be watching. But if you can beat NC State, you beat Syracuse, beat Virginia Tech, and then if Coastal can stay undefeated and you beat them, I think it's probably worth a conversation. BYU deserves to be in the conversation, but I don't know if top to bottom that schedule is truly strong enough. And Cincinnati's given 2 teams their only loss on the year. So from a resume perspective, theirs is pretty nice right now. Because all those teams are all playing each other, I just don't know how good they're going to look towards the end of the season. There's so much you can pick apart about each one of them. I love BYU offensive line, quarterback, system. Coach Grimes has done an amazing job out there. I don't know how athletic they are on defense. I love Cincinnati's defensive line. And I think they got a good group of running backs. But, I think BYU would beat Cincinnati. And Malik Willis is ripping it up for Liberty. But, I don't know if they could go even really hang with some of these other teams that we've been talking about. So, Coastal Carolina is the one that, honestly, from a matchup perspective, would probably give the most people fits. When you watch their offense, it's the most unique offense in college football. And they got a tight end that's a mismatch guy. They got a couple running backs who can really go, some receivers who can go, probably like 2 Division I defensive linemen. So I still don't think they win. But, if you're just finding ways to have the conversation, I think that you can probably have it with any of them. But I don't know if any of them are truly going to have a good enough resume to go up against, maybe even a Miami team, a Notre Dame team, a Clemson team, a Texas A&M team that we're talking about sitting there with 1 or 2 losses and what they've gone through to potentially be there.
All right, Cole, before we let you go today, one of my favorite things when you and I get together and we're able to host radio shows together, we talk offensive line play, we get into the nitty-gritty of it, and we talked about Kentucky and their offensive line really over the last couple of seasons, and I know the Wildcats are dealing with a major loss, losing their offensive line coach to cancer at the age of 45.
Well, this is not a loss just for Kentucky, and I don't think it's just a loss for the SEC. This is a loss for college football because John Schlarman, when you were around him, he was everything that college football should be. He loved the game. He was coaching at the place that he played. He loved everything about Kentucky and Kentucky football, and his players adored him. You know, I'm always jealous of that because I didn't have that. I didn't have that coach that I would have run through a wall for, that relationship. I never had it. You won't find a guy that's played for him that has negative things to say about him. And I think his groups spoke of exactly what kind of human being he was and exactly what kind of offensive line he was, even though they may have been devoid of talent compared to other groups in certain seasons. But there was never any controversy. There was never any and, if, or buts of what he was putting into his job or what he got out of his kids, the relationship he had with his kids. I mean, he is what college football is supposed to be. And he was passionate about it. He lived it. And I think if you can go find the Kyle Tucker story on John Schlarman, I shared it on my Twitter feed earlier today. It's more than worth your time. What he was dealing with for probably the last 6 or 7 months, and then going out and coaching every day it's unbelievable. And you know, he missed the last few games. I got to talk to him on the sideline of Kentucky. Got to talk to him on the sideline at the Mississippi State game where we had Kentucky and Auburn, and then Kentucky Mississippi State. And I tell you, I saw him at the Kentucky game, man, and he had a mask on, so you know everybody's kind of a little bit hard to tell exactly who they are with the mask, and he had a hat on. He always wore a hat, and I didn't recognize him. I didn't know who he was, and I mean he had withered away, and you kind of knew it put in perspective when you hear, hey man, things aren't great, things aren't good, this is what he's going through, and you see him, and man, it just hits you like a ton of bricks that yeah, it's bad, and then saw him at the Mississippi State game, and I mean, he actually looked worse. And you just wonder, how's this guy out here coaching every day? How's he showing up for work every day? I mean, couldn't eat a lot of the time. Blisters on his feet, just giant blisters walking around at practice. And just a testament to what kind of individual he was. And like I said earlier today on Twitter, just ask one of his former players about him or current players about him. They'll tell you everything you need to know.
Cole, we appreciate it. Thank you for sharing that with us. And I obviously was somebody that meant a lot to you, so we're sorry for your loss, but we appreciate your time today. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Cole Cubelic with the SEC Network. We'll take a break. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
All right, brought to you by Richards Honda. You can check them out at richardshonda.com. You can go see them at 13413 Millerville Greens Boulevard in Baton Rouge as well. At richardshonda.com, you have the buy from home option right there on the homepage, a 7-step process to get the vehicle that you want delivered to you. Yes, delivered to your front door. It's a 7-step process. Like I said, you pick out which vehicle you want. You put in a little bit of information. You start to compare some of the vehicles, the features that you want on that vehicle. And then, like I said, at the end of the day, they get that car, truck, midsize, full-size SUV delivered right to your doorstep. But we always encourage you, go see them over at I-12 and Millerville because they do have over 700 new and pre-owned vehicles that are priced to move on the lot. And no matter what you're looking for, no matter what your lifestyle calls for, they've got you covered. You're going to drive away extremely happy from Richards Honda. That's Richards Honda. That's why it's home of the warm and fuzzy feeling.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans born to run.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Thursday's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Full hour of football talk with Mike Detillier, our Fantasy Blitz, and Ryan Clark joins us. Hopefully you'll join us as well, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Come on, Freddie. I just pushed one pass. Freddie Couples out for his second hole of the day at the Masters. I play for about another 2 hours, maybe a little under 2 hours. Late groups are not going to finish today because of the rain delay at the beginning. I don't think, anyway. If the sun goes down when it's supposed to go down. We just saw Dustin Johnson with an eagle at number 2. And Brooks Koepka coming out missing that birdie putt. But here's what I love about day one. What was the talk of the tournament before? I mean, besides the November stuff. Bryson DeChambeau, he may just make the course obsolete, right? Hitting the ball,
change the course himself.
350 yards over the trees. And look, the guy's, the incredible bulk. Okay, I mean, he's crushing the ball, no question. Bryson DeChambeau shot 70 today. It's a respectable score, 2 under par, in the top 12, in a tie for 12th. Nothing wrong with that. Know who else shot 70 today? Larry Mize. 62-year-old Larry Mize, former Masters champion. Larry Mize, who you get a lifetime exemption. They let you play until you're 65, and he won the Masters in 1987, and he has shot right here the same thing as Bryson DeChambeau. I'm not suggesting that he's going to keep this pace up. I'm just saying that guy's huge, hit the ball a mile. 62-year-old guy, I'm just guessing doesn't.
62 years young.
Shot the same score today. That's all I'm saying. Hustle home and watch a little bit of this golf before it gets dark over in Augusta.
If you could have gotten odds like on that, what those odds would have been, that they would shoot the same score today.
Oh, wow.
They'd be big. Let's just put it that way.
It'd be huge. I don't even want to try and put a number on it, but it would be big. Watch a little bit of the golf tournament before we tune into football tonight. We've got Colorado State, Boise State is a college game. The pro game, I think, is much more compelling. Colts and Titans at Nashville tonight. Two playoff teams. I think that you get a real nice matchup between Derrick Henry, this mountain of a running back who's averaging over 100 yards a game, and the Colts defense, who's number 3 in the league against the run. Titans need a win at home. I think this game's a little just this much more, an inch more important to them than it is to the Colts, but I'll hear an argument either way. What say you on Titans-Colts tonight?
I was surprised that the Colts were the favorite. A small favorite, but still a favorite on the road.
1 point, yeah.
And I think the Titans are one of the best teams in the NFL, not just the AFC. They're not the best, but they're in a group maybe right behind the top tier. And I think the Colts are still struggling at different positions. I think they're still trying to find out who they are at the running back position. Obviously, they dealt with some injuries on the defensive side of the football. But now when their defense is full of strength, it's one of the best in the NFL. So we'll see what strength wins out tonight. I like the Titans in a close battle. I think the Colts are a team that's going to be in every game they play this year. But I think the Titans just have too much talent at the end of the day not to win this one.
Yeah, I like the Titans an awful lot tonight. Maybe this is a product of how they have played the last 3 weeks. You know, they had that really nice little twofer where they crushed the Bills and they came back and they got a win over the Texans. And then they lost that close game to the Steelers. Maybe that was a little bit of a deceiving score because the Steelers built a big lead. Titans went back and they make the kick. They're going to overtime, but they missed. Then they lose to the Bengals 2 weeks ago. Bengals are an improving team. I think that surprised a lot of people that they lost that game by double digits. I think it's more the game last week against the Bears where they won, but they won ugly. They just don't appear to be playing as well as they were playing a month ago. I still think, though, that they're better offensively than the Colts are. Maybe they're not as good defensively, but overall I think they're a better team. And I watched a good bit of Colts and Ravens on Sunday, and I understand how good the Baltimore defense is, but the Colts just at times look like they're not. I'm trying to think of a nice way to say this because he's a good guy and he's been a great quarterback for a long time. I know you played with him, but there have been stretches this year where Phillip Rivers looks like an old man.
Careful.
No, I'm serious.
Talking about one of my good friends
there are times where he looks good and there are times where he looks old. And I've seen it both ways. I saw him in a game against the Browns where it was like, for a half it was okay. And then there have been other games, against the Lions. He had a big game. He had a big game against the Bengals. He had a big game against the Vikings. So there have been other games where he has looked good, and then there have been games where he just doesn't look like, it doesn't look like he's got it all working.
Yeah, last week he struggled, obviously, 25 of 43. Now he threw for 227 yards, but no touchdowns, had that one interception, and they had a plan, Baltimore did, to try to get after him, try to make him uncomfortable, and try to make him get rid of the football fast, which he had to, and he threw a lot of short passes in that game last week. And so, kind of what you're talking about is they're trying to take advantage of him being a guy's going to stay in the pocket. He's not going to try to get outside of the pocket. They're trying to make him dink and dunk down to the running backs and the tight ends and not push it down the field.
So while we're watching some golf and a little college football and a little pro football tonight, be sure to enjoy an ice cold Coors Light, cold, crisp, and refreshing mountain cold refreshment from our friends over at Coors Light with the cold lagered, cold filtered, and now cold packaged in the slim cans. The new slim cans are everywhere now. They're great. Keep your beer cold a little bit, all the way down there to the end. Great for tailgating if we ever get to tailgate again. And, of course, they're made to chill. Only 102 calories, natural light lager from Coors Light. And, of course, also the Blue Moon Light Sky, which we have come to like an awful lot. New light, refreshing wheat beer from Blue Moon. Lighter body, 95 calories. Also in the slim cans. A little citrus aroma, a little citrus taste to it.
You don't have to go to the grocery store. You don't have to go buy the oranges. It's already infused with the flavor.
Right there into the brewing process with the tangerine peel. So whether it's a Coors Light or Blue Moon Light Sky, make it a good one tonight and this afternoon as you're watching.
I think we should
Masters.
shotgun one of those beers right now.
Well, Lord knows they're cold. Just here in our refrigerated studio.
That's true.
Here.
The Rockies are always blue.
Guarantee Media. We'll take a break. Ask Us is next in the Bayou Ford Chat, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny. Off the Bench, Hangin with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Join us for a Thursday edition of Jimmy Ott's Game Time, live from our usual Thursday home, Joe Lee Pearl Oyster Bar. Come enjoy the happy hour specials and catch Colts and Titans with us, or tune in here to 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
And we're back. Ask us in the Bayou Ford chat. You ready?
Let's go.
Ask us, have you ever ordered a Big Mac at Burger King or a Whopper at McDonald's? I don't think I've ever made
I have not.
Probably not.
If I go to Burger King, which I don't do ever, I get the chicken sandwich, the long one, the long chicken sandwich. Don't go to McDonald's. Not a McDonald's fan. That stuff is. I don't even want to know what they put in it.
Let's do a little bit different on the food. Ask us, what are some of your must-haves for Thanksgiving dinner? When I tell you that I could just do the dressing table and probably be okay, because there's a dressing table. Rice dressing, cornbread dressing, oyster dressing. Yep. If you just gave me those three things, I could probably be okay.
I'd probably be okay too, but give me some honey ham. I'll take it. I'll take some carrot souffle. I'll take any form of it. A sweet potato casserole will do it as well. But I'm with you. Like oyster dressing's probably my favorite thing about Thanksgiving.
Ask us, what happened to Jordan Spieth? If I knew I'd coach golf.
Yeah.
Sometimes
he's got the Czech knobblocks. We told you yesterday. He's got a little bit of yips.
He does. It's something. He hadn't won a tournament in 3 years, and at that time when he won the Open, it looked like he was going to be, off to a Hall of Fame career. I mean, he was 3/4 of the way to the career Grand Slam at 23. I think he was
Texas,
when he won the
right?
Open. Yes.
Yeah, when Texas comes back, he'll be back.
Ooh, that's just mean. Ask us, National French Dip Day. When's the last time you had French dip?
Been a minute.
Yeah, I don't.
You do the French dip sandwich?
It's not. It's something I will eat if you put it in front of me, but it's not something I would go buy for myself.
No.
So I don't remember. It's been a long time. Ask us, what's your dream vacation? Right this second, I just like to be able to go back to Vegas, but Vegas is closed pretty much. But a dream vacation, always something in the South Pacific, French Polynesia and Australia. It's one of the things you do once in your life.
That's a good one. New Zealand, something like that. But I'll be honest, I am so intrigued with the history of Europe, and that there's obviously they're much older countries than we have here, and just seeing some of those spots, and obviously y'all know I'm a soccer guy, so I'd love to go see some of the older places. So like a complete 3-week European vacation would be pretty ideal.
Italy.
Yeah.
Is a must. Ask us, are there any Thanksgiving traditions you had growing up that you've carried over to your family? I've got a fail.
Oh,
you ready for my fail? Okay, so when I was growing up, when your grandmother's, I mean, I'm talking about when I was a young person, very young, like 7 or 8 years old. There were two things that were on in the house. As they were cooking, as they were preparing the meal, the Macy's parade was on, and the Macy's parade was on until the football game started on, and then the football games were on all day. So that's what was on TV, and you had to turn the TV off to eat. That was kind of the rule, you're not watching football while we eat, but then you can turn it back on whenever we're done. So I took my granddaughter, when this was 2 Thanksgivings ago, whatever. Sit here with Papa and let's watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. Okay, that lasted about 3 minutes. She was bored out of her mind. I mean, if it ain't on an iPad, if it ain't on the thing, so I was like, hey, I remember, when I was watching with my family, we sat down, we watched the parade, and I don't do it anymore. So that was like the epic fail for me. So not even 3 minutes.
Something for me that I want to get started with my boys, and this is like the perfect timing because they're all playing football. They're all into it now. Is basically the Turkey Bowl.
Yeah,
we used to play in my family. I mean, my uncles. I've got a couple uncles that are almost closer to my age than my dad's because my dad's the oldest.
Yeah,
and we would go out there and it was on.
And
I mean, it was aggressive. It was intense. Now we weren't tackling each other, but it was 2-hand touch, and it was more of a 2-hand shove because I got a ton of cousins and. Man, we're a lot of us played college athletics between football, baseball, whatever. So it would get intense, And let me just tell you, like, my uncles did not hold back on me as a 13-year-old, and I enjoyed every single second of it. So my boys, they're about to come to the realization.
All right, it's about
they're
to
about to get Dad's best.
Ask us. This is an LSU basketball question. Watford, Smart, Days, Thomas, and question marks. All right, so he's asking. This is Jules asking about a starting lineup. So I think in the opening games, the games that they play up in Nebraska and the pre-conference games, I think it might fluctuate a little bit. My first instinct is to say Josh LeBlanc. He's the most experienced guy that they can put out there that, you know, is going to be a little bit of a post. But if they felt like that would leave him a little bit small, then you could go Brian Penn Johnson.
That's where my head was. I think if you go get a guy like that and he comes in, he's an older player, he's going to be the guy that starts, not necessarily mean he's going to play the most minutes, obviously, but I think he was brought in to just be the guy in the middle to start and kind of pick their spots.
I'm going to say LeBlanc to start, but I'll hear that both he and Penn Johnson might take.
Not many 7-footers out there in college basketball.
Very few.
They had a purpose to go get him.
Sure. Ask Jake, what were your favorite cleats?
Oh, I like this question. So I was one of the first people, very fortunate that we're a huge Nike school here at LSU, the slip-on cleats, right? They still tie, but they're kind of molded and they don't have a tongue. You slip them on, and I've got a fat foot, so it took me a while to get them on, but I got them on. The 07 BCS championship game, Nike sent LSU a test model, and my guy, Greg Stringfellow, allowed me to wear them in that game. And so I was the first person to wear that style of cleat in the country, and I thought that was really cool, and I wore that kind of cleat the entire length of my professional career.
Nice. Ask us, worst job you ever had?
Katie and I had basically a lawn service when we were in high school. We mowed yards. We did it all push mower because I was trying to get in shape, and I felt like that was the best way to get in shape. Edge, weed eat, trim, the whole deal.
One summer when I was in college, I worked for an inventory service for 2 months.
Oh.
Miserable job, miserable people. Ask us.
Hope they're not listening.
That was 30 years ago, and if they are, I'd tell them to their face they were miserable people. Ask us, what's your favorite holiday? I like Christmas.
Christmas is just so good. I mean, Thanksgiving is fantastic, by the way. Thanksgiving gets overlooked because of Christmas. Thanksgiving, with the football, the food, the family, it needs to be celebrated a little bit bigger.
For us, Christmas is the only time that the whole family gets together. You know, we used to be able to do that more often. Now everybody's scattered a little bit further out than we used to be, and that's the only time that we can put the whole family together. So that's my favorite.
Maybe I'm thinking Thanksgiving because I missed so many Thanksgivings because we were playing and didn't really have a chance to sit down and have a typical Thursday Thanksgiving. Now I can do it. Yeah.
Let's see. Ask Hester, do you still keep in touch with Tebow?
Yeah, I talk to Tim every once in a while for sure. During the football season, we'll see him out on the road.
You can invite him on the show, you know.
Talk to him from time to time.
All right. We'll invite him on the show.
Okay, we'll do it.
Talk about old times.
I had Tebow on the SEC show not too long ago, so we'll just redo it.
You do a show locally here, too.
I know, but do you really want to hear from a Gator?
We talk to Doring every week. Yes.
Okay, that's like my best friend. And he covers the SEC network. I guess Tebow does, too. Okay, yep.
Stay tuned for AFR on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with it.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast